We both got up to leave. Fuck off. Shut up, man. That's how angry I was at this film.
Wait, so
This would be the perfect spot for a makeover montage.
I think her hands just made a baby.
I'm vibed fucking what? Getting actual angry here.
The whole film is so shite.
Right. Sorry, I fucking don't, guys.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Sorry I Don't podcast. I'm here with Abby and Swanny, and today we will be talking about 17 again.
Did I get a chance to introduce ourselves? That's cool. Let's go.
Even worse the
Off to a
second time.
great start.
After a great start, brought the same energy for that second joke, or the same one. Oh my god, I can't even speak. Right.
Right. This film has rendered us all senseless, basically. This was an ordeal.
So, do you have the little kind of jips about like when it came out?
Yeah,
and all that
of
kind
course.
of stuff?
Of course.
Well, it'd be nice if you had that ready.
It's right here. So, 17 Again came out in 2009, an American teen fantasy comedy film, as it is described here, directed by Burr Steers. What a name. Burr Steers.
Burr Steers.
Bursters. I don't know. Burr Steers. I'm going to call him Bursters.
Bursters.
Buster. Burr Steers.
We bursters.
So
Bursters burst it with this one, to be fair. It's an apt name.
Do you know what else he directed? Charlie St. Cloud.
Oh, no.
That makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Not really.
Well, the infatuation clearly with Zac Effron as a
I mean, that is
performer.
the only thing that makes sense about those two films being connected.
Well, yeah, but it's clearly the guy saw Zac
Wait, which
Efron.
one came first?
This one. This
This
came
one
a year
came
before.
first.
Then Charlie St. Cloud came out the next year.
I
And the
got
guy was
battered while I was watching that film.
You got right. Pin. Very clearly this guy likes Zac Efron in High School Musical and went, hey, let's do that without the singing. And we got two okay films.
What kind of man would do that?
Me. I saw him and I went, that boy's going to be a star. And he was. So I felt quite vindicated. Anyway, Abby, you got battered.
Yeah, I just don't know if this is a funny story.
Okay.
I was watching Charlie St. Cloud at a sleepover and this girl absolutely gubbed me and I was obviously crying because I'd been punched. And then I was just like, oh, the film was really sad.
Who too?
To the girl that whacked me.
All right, so she hit you and then you pretended not to be crying.
Well, I ran away crying because I didn't want to get battered anymore.
I was going to cry.
And then
What,
I was
you were
like,
like
oh.
10 at the time?
I was like first year of high school.
That's fucking mental.
Yeah,
First year of high school.
First year of high school, and then I mean,
What's even worse is the fact that you were getting battered to 17 again. That's just really embarrassing.
No,
no,
to
it's
be
Charlie
honest.
St. Cloud. It's
Charlie
actually
St. Cloud.
worse.
Oh.
Worse. But then this leads into a lot. I was going to say when we get into this film, I wanted to have a bit of a discussion about what like we were all like in high school, and I think getting battered by a girl who was very strong, wielding a baby doll with those really heavy plastic
What,
heads.
was she battering you with the dog?
Yeah, she was just swinging it about, battering me. Shocking.
My empathy levels are going
Shocking
off.
times.
So to start off with,
cry.
we'll talk about our relationship to 17 again. So I want to start off here and just explain that my relationship with 17 again started this year. This is the second time
Wait.
in 2023 that I've seen 17 again.
You hadn't seen this film before.
No.
And you wanted to watch it without any childhood nostalgia, without any sort of ties to like this is a film that I watched when I was younger, so I have.
No.
I hate
Just
you.
so everyone knows, this film was Claude's suggestion. Like Claude picked this film for us to watch, so
Listen.
you all have her to blame.
We're all going to have a fun
We're
night.
all in this together.
So
Once
just
something-
it's fresh in my mind. It's got some nostalgia value for you, but it's fresh in my mind, which is why I wanted
Nostalgia?
to discuss it,
it's like a
because it's ridiculous.
weird
And
stain on the wall I never got
want-
around to cleaning. All right.
So I wanted to do like this kind of vibe of film anyway,
Okay,
like a
of
kind of
course.
like a a wacky comedy, a wacky American comedy, because they're full of things that you can discuss and rip. And this was just quite fresh in my mind, and also all the other ones I could think of were just like too too self-aware, I guess, of what they were doing. Like things like The Hangover
Yeah.
and the one with like all the wee boys who are in school trying
Hot
to get
American
those.
Pie.
Not American Pie. The other one with like, oh, what am I thinking of? The one with Emma Stone in it.
Oh,
Easy A.
No.
not the film I was thinking about. Oh, Superbad.
Super bad. Yeah, these are like films that are kind of wacky American
But they
comedies,
are quite
but they're way
self-aware.
better. They're way funnier, and they're self-aware. So I was like, I want to go for something that is.
Oh no, totally. I think it definitely has the potential to live up to being easily ridiculous and maybe amazing.
Yeah,
Spoiler, it's not.
and just to kind of clarify my relationship with it, it got to Valentine's Day this year. My very first Valentine's Day with. Do you want us to stop?
My very first Valentine's Day with Do you want us to stop?
Turns to her boyfriend and is like, is it over? Actually, see, now that I'm reflecting on this, it would be completely fair if you just ended things now because I made you watch 17 again.
Actually, man.
So, you just kind of ripped me for like choosing this film to discuss tonight, but I'd like to rip my boyfriend Cameron Hunter, who is producing this podcast, for requesting to watch this on Valentine's Day.
Had he seen it before?
Yes.
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 And he also was like,
wanted me to watch it, having seen it before. So I think it's fair to then kind of push that on someone else, that whole experience.
Totally. And he was even like, we got to one of the scenes, he went, this is why I wanted to show it to Claude. And I was like, all right, cool. And I actually can't even remember what the scene was. It was just such a nothing scene. And he went, this is why. And I went, I was like, right, sorry, Cammy. I can't remember. What was the scene?
It was. I wanted to show it to Claude because it was such a ridiculous scene. It was where the daughter comes on to the dad, and I was like,
oh yeah.
And the reason I wanted to.
Yeah, please tell us the reason.
Yeah,
Gabby.
clarify, man.
Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day, I wanted to show my girlfriend a film where a daughter comes onto her dad.
The reason I wanted.
We should cut to you like a confessional booth here. Just going, the reason that
But
would
like
need
behind a screen with a voice distortion. Like,
It's very good to see you again.
I'm sorry, Cabby. What was your reason?
The reason I wanted to was because I wanted to double check that was actually real, that actually happened in this film.
On Valentine's Day.
I think he was seeing that you had a good bit of patter in you, and it would inflame
Yeah, it wasn't
a
because.
bit of funniness.
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm
Okay.
defending this.
So how
decision.
was
It's a
your
terrible
experience watching
know-
this on Valentine's Day?
To be fair to him, he kept saying, do you want to turn it off? And I was like, no, I'm...
film. This sounds like such a good date.
I failed your driving test.
And I failed my driving test that day.
And,
as well.
and on the reverse, me and Swanny just got drunk for no reason.
Yeah, we did.
That's how we spent our Valentine's Days
God.
this year.
So far we've I'm definitely responsible for 90% of this, but we've just confessed about 3 traumas and discussed none of the film.
No, that's what the film brings out in us, you know.
So I think like my relationship with the film is that, to be fair to him, on Valentine's Day, because I'd failed my driving test, I was like, I don't want to do it I don't want to make a big deal. I don't want it to be romantic. I can't be arsed. Like, I'm just feeling like on the brink of tears the entire day.
This sounds like such a good day for you guys, man.
So I was like, I just want to watch something, just nothing, something like mind-numbing. And it did that for me. I didn't come away from it angry, being like, this is how I spent my Valentine's Day. I was like,
Oh,
this is what I wanted today. I didn't want to have to think a lot. I didn't want to sit and watch something like Breaking Bad or, you know, something heavy. I wanted to sit and watch something like Zac Efron playing basketball and try to come on to 17-year-old
watch High School
lasses.
Musical,
so,
man.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, I really want to watch Zac Efron playing basketball. I know, I'll watch 17 again. No, there's 3 other films.
Listen, man, it was free on Netflix at the time, and since then it is not.
We paid for it, didn't we?
We paid for it.
Well,
I paid for
I'll
it.
I'll give you 75 pence.
And this is-
175. How much was it?
Do you know, I don't
God.
know. I hope it was like a tenner.
I also outed myself as owning this because you messaged me being like, how did you find 17 again? And I was like, oh, apparently I've actually already bought it on Amazon Prime, so I just had it. And you were like, no, what did you think about the film as one?
You were just ready to confess that.
So I think we've all come to the conclusion that nobody has any kind of close relationship with 17
This
again.
is not the hill I'm planning to die on.
It's quite interesting to do then, because the first 3 films that we've done, each of us have had a personal connection to all. At least one of us has had a connection to all 3 films.
Yeah.
So I think doing one like this was actually quite a smart move. Was that a wee? What was that? Was that a hurry up?
No, it's just a you declaring that we're smart.
Aye. Right. Mere plot, wee boy.
Right.
So, let's start off with the plot. I'll take you through the plot. We start off with Zac Effron playing basketball. And the initial feeling is that, yeah, you're right. You should be watching a High School Musical because you're watching Zac Effron playing basketball. And he's got class hair at the start as well, because it's like, what?
It's the 70s.
I don't know. Is it the 70s?
70s? 80s? No. Wait
80s. It's 89.
89, yeah, because
That
it
is
was set in
89.
2006 and he's
Yeah.
17 again and 17. Yep.
Yeah, 89. So,
Because apparently 17 plus 17 is 35. Yep.
so what happens is, what?
Because they make a big point that he's 17 years later, but then they keep talking about he's 35, but he was 17 at that point, so then actually be 34. It's just a weird little number thing, which is interesting.
Maybe
When
he's
the
about to
ori-
turn 18.
Well, the original film's called, or one of the films it's based on is actually called 18 Again, so I don't know.
So, we have we have Zac Efron playing basketball. And first of all, he's just like shooting some balls. I don't know, is that how you say it?
Shooting some hoops.
Shooting some hoops.
There you go.
That's what he's doing. He's shooting some hoops.
Shooting some balls.
And then he's getting ready for this big basketball game, clearly. You see Swanny's casting in the first minute and 30 seconds. It's this, like, wee boy in a robe, in a purple robe or something like that, holding a bunch of books. He, like, runs into the gym hall and, like, falls. And he's like, sorry, guys, I was at D&D. The elves were, like, warring with the orcs or
How
something.
can I leave my party in the middle of a battle? I
Yeah.
remember what he said, because I've done that excuse before.
And at the time
Shout out to the D&D players watching this.
that
You're
you've patched
passionate
to do this.
Fuck. I patched no one. I made mistakes. And I fessed up to them.
Also, to clarify, at this point when we release this episode, we'll have done Goldfinger, right, with a video of Swanny running late, tripping over everything, and then being late because he forgot his D&D books.
Yeah.
So just everyone can refer to that if you have any sort of illustration of what we're talking about here.
Or if you just know me in real life, you're like, yeah, that's what he's like.
So, then he's actually playing basketball.
Well,
He's playing
can I just say about this wee boy that comes in very quickly?
On you go, man.
Right. This wee boy comes in. So Zac Efron's 17. Okay, but he looks, Zac Efron, he's like 22, 23 at the time, right? And he looks that age. Yeah. And then this literal wee boy runs in. I'm late because of D&D, etc. But then Zac Efron's like, man, you're going to lose. And it turns out these two are best friends.
Yes.
And like, the casting is off.
Presumably the same age.
Yeah, presumably the same age, right?
Yeah.
This wee boy, it's like, I kept expecting someone to go, excuse me, sir, you're 25. Can you please stop hanging out with this like literal 12-year-old child, man? It's a bit weird. But he's inexplicably the same age and actually looks older than Matthew Perry when we go into that point later on. Fucking aye, casting's all over the shop.
This again is like another film that really set up unrealistic expectations for me, that when I got to high school there was going to be some kind of like cool jock guy who was also like really nice to people who weren't cool.
Yeah.
As you see, this is a very specific typecasting for Zac Efron, and I think this is why I had Zac Efron slippers as a child, is because I'd seen him in two films in a franchise: High School Musical, cool basketball player, befriends the outcast weirdos, geeks, does musical theatre. 17 Again, cool basketball guy, really popular, befriends the D&D loser. Hairspray.
You just gestured towards me when you did that.
I was gesturing generally.
Okay.
Hairspray, cool guy on TV, Link, befriends Tracy Turnblad, outcast, outsider. So yeah, I mean, this was the dream. And I was like,
Zac Efron was like your 12-year-old comfort man.
yeah, it kind of clicked for me. I was like, that's
Say
why I
something
always liked him. Don't you even go there. I was like, this is why I always liked him. I thought people like that existed, and they just didn't. like sorely disappointed. It was like when I got to high school and like volleyball was the sport people played in my high school that were cool, which is embarrassing. But like, you know, in High School Musical, they have this big picture on the wall. I thought that was going to be a thing. It wasn't. All of these films just set me up for complete disappointment as soon as I went to high school.
Cool lockers.
We did have lockers, actually.
I had lockers, but like you didn't have cool lockers.
Yeah.
You didn't have personalised lockers with like your name in it and like little bits and bobs. And
You didn't have entire murals on the lunch walls of
No.
the basketball players' faces.
No, that would have been obscene.
A bit much, right?
So he's playing basketball. There's a scout there. He's like talking about how this is a huge game. It's going to be a big deal for his career going forward. And then he's like, "Oh, look at that beautiful woman who's standing over there." This is to his wee pal, and
His child ward.
and he's like, "Oh wait, that's my girlfriend." And then he goes over to chat to her, and she's immediately cagey. She's like kind of like standing like almost holding her stomach. She's just like, "Oh, I don't know,
I'm gonna be sick.
And then he's like, what's up? You're acting weird." And she's like, "No, like, go Wildcats, like, enjoy your basketball game."
And he's like,
I'm
I'm wicked nervous. Like, I've got a quote of like his ridiculous lines. "Oh, babe, I'm wicked nervous."
So-
Shut up.
he's like, "No, tell me what's going on." And she's like, "No, it's fine. And then he goes off again, and then he looks at her, and she's kind of just like looking all nervous and stuff like that. And then he does this thing where he like kisses his hand and then like gestures to like shoot a hoop.
Kiss and swish.
And yeah, like that.
It's like what's the guy that does that from the hand gesture thing
What are you doing?
in the TikToks? He was in
the
Eurovision.
TikToks.
In the TikToks.
In the TikToks.
He was in Eurovision. David from the band with the
What, Maniskin?
yes.
Alright, okay, good. Nice one.
Good, sick reference.
So, but despite doing their little, it must be like a little inside thing they do, this little kiss hoop thing.
No, I think it's an inside thing that he does. I think he made it up right there and then. She's just like, honestly, I've written down here. I think that's why she breaks up with him. I think she's actually like,
She doesn't break up with him.
Well, no, she does. She,
Yeah, eventually, like 17 years
No,
later.
but she's tried to break up with
It's just
him
been
there.
every
Not
single
at the
day playing over in her
basketball game.
head.
So what the fuck does he run away for?
Because she tells
Because
him that
that
she's pregnant.
Did you not realise this?
And then she runs off.
Yeah.
Oh, she's been dramatic.
she's just been
She couldn't let him
dramatic.
finish his basketball game,
So
apparently.
she kind of whispers. You don't actually hear what she says, right?
Right.
How are you just realising this?
Right, no,
This
'cause-
is how his life's ruined. Because he has wins when he's 17.
Right, okay.
You watched the film like last night, man.
Right, okay. I thought she was leaving him because she didn't want him to focus on her and the baby.
I think she was just leaving the room, man.
Yeah.
Aye.
I think she was leaving him.
Well, then his reaction is,
He was being
go
so-
back to the game.
Yeah, man.
We're
man.
gonna get
Right,
there.
okay,
Also,
good. Same page there.
I hate to already just get back a little bit, but I realised we've just jumped past the breakdown, the choreographed where he joins the cheerleaders. He's got a cheek to turn around to his pal and be like, "Man, I'm trying to make things easier for you in high school, but if you show up to basketball practice wearing a dress, like there's not much I can do. Let me break into Salt and Pepper." I don't care what year it is. Breaking into choreographed dance routines in front of people
never cool.
has never been cool. He would have 100%, like, even Zac Effron is maybe not hot enough to get away with that.
Yeah.
It was absolutely shocking. I don't
What are you
believe that
talking
anyone,
about?
again,
We watched some High
unrealistic,
School Musical doing all that all the time.
unrealistic expectations that impromptu displays of entirely choreographed performance in public spaces were going to impress people.
Did you try and do that?
Oh, man, I used to sing on the bus. I deserved everything I got. She should have whacked me harder with that doll's head.
Oh, she should have just caved that skull in. Jesus Christ. You sang on the bus. What did you
Not
sing?
for long. I mean, it didn't take much to realise this wasn't winning me any pals.
So what you did that is hopefully someone go, "Oh my god, you're a really good singer. Hey."
I don't know why I was doing that. I think I just wanted the attention.
See if there's like a scout next to you on the bus. Like, wow, that was amazing. You can really sing. It's like, really? Do you actually think that?
Can I give you your own Disney Channel show? You can meet Zach. Fuck me, Abby.
So, yes, sorry, she's pregnant. That's why she just leaves the room because she's like, "Oh, I can't do this. This is all too much." And instead of just finishing off his basketball game, he's like, "Oh, I better run after and see if she's all right." I don't know why she leaves the room. It doesn't
know
have
why
to
he
be that
doesn't come
dramatic.
And
back.
ruins it for everyone else because you see the other team gets the ball and they score instead. And I'm like, Why would you not just, or at least pass it to someone in your team?
because he just throws it over his shoulder.
Throws it over his shoulder. Like, you selfish arsehole.
Yeah, I feel like my plot was a bit more coherent than whatever the fuck that was, because he just chucks, goes out, and then presumably just goes, yeah, I'm dropping out of high school, dropping everything for the kid that's not even born yet.
Can I just say, like, storytelling wise, it would have made so much more sense if she had revealed this to him at like halftime, right?
Yeah.
Because at the very beginning of the game, because you know, there's no feeling of jeopardy there, because anything can still happen afterwards, even though he does, like, you know, give the other team an advantage by being a selfish arsehole.
She should have found out halfway through.
Yeah, she should have like taken him aside like halfway through the game, and then it was like, you know, the last point, the final minute. High School Musical does this a lot more successfully, you know, create some kind of jeopardy. But no, it's like he just literally starts.
She shouldn't have done anything at all. Like, mate, how long's a basketball game in secondary school? Like, just fucking wait 40 minutes.
You're still going to be pregnant in 40 minutes. Like,
Yeah, man.
I just feel, yeah, you're
You
right.
can break up with Zac Efron in 40 minutes. Like, go have some chill. This is a theme.
I thought she didn't break up with Zac Efron though.
Break the news to Zac Efron. Apologies. Sorry,
storm
man.
out dramatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Making sure I'm not being gaslit here.
they have a week. They have a week kiss in
Are
the.
you happy with that?
I'm very happy with it. We put some gas hobs.
Claude,
here.
please put me out of misery.
So we have a
Keep
little.
my head in with a baby. It was a reference
Right.
earlier.
Okay. Right. So they have a wee conversation in the corridor. She's like, "Oh, don't do this. Don't ruin your future for me." And he's like, "No, all I care about is you and this baby." And then they have a kiss, and then he like picks her up and twirls her around. And then it cuts to 17 years later. I didn't realize it was 17 years later. I just assumed, I don't know, they just fast forward to him being 40
Well, I think it's
or
actually
something.
18 years later, but they make reference to 17 years ago. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I clearly forgot the plot of the start of it. Right.
Because you weren't watching.
I was watching it. What? I was. Deep voice. I was watching it.
Well, you were just like
my
distracted over whether or not to go to this podcast or your own Ma's birthday. So I don't know if you were watching it with a lot of focus.
I made a lot of mistakes in my planning schedule over the last week, and I've rectified some of them.
So we fast forward, and where are we at now? So I think that after this, it goes right to him working at this company, which I think is a
who's
weird
he played by?
transition. He's played by Matthew Perry.
Matthew
which
Perry.
is incredible casting, I think, because
Okay.
that is Matthew Perry.
Right. So I no matter how well either Zac Efron or Matthew Perry acted in this, I could never buy that they were the same person. And it's
Not
neither
at
of their
all.
faults. But I was like, we all know what Matthew Perry looked like when he was younger, and he didn't look like Zac Efron.
you know, this is so
and I can't
weird.
buy into the fantasy of this because I just know they're two very different people.
This is so weird because Cammy and Swanny were saying the same thing to me in the car last night, right? And I get it, kind of, but I'm also like, what the fuck were you expecting? Like, were you expecting
like,
Zac
just
Efron
someone
to do
who-
2 years of like Austin Butler-esque like method acting so that he could act
No,
like
that's
Matthew
not-
Perry,
they're-
or the other way around?
No,
That's
what I'm
fucking
saying.
meant for
It wouldn't
17
matter.
again?
It wouldn't matter if he had. I actually did note at one point, I don't know when it is, some point in the future, I was like, you can tell that he is like trying to copy the mannerisms and like the intonation of his speech and things. Like, I can recognise that he is acting like Matthew Perry, but I just saw Friends.
I found that in my notes, so he did try and copy Matthew Perry's acting.
Yeah, like I think he did the best he could do, but he's set up to fail because we all know what Matthew Perry looked like when he was like 25 and like reasonably. It's hard to. I just couldn't suspend disbelief.
Yeah. Some critics at the time were saying that as well. They were like, man, why don't we just,
Who
you
the
know,
fuck was criticising 17?
everyone talked about it. Fucking, there were so many reviews I had to look through. And they're all saying, aye. That's basically the reviews were. But
So-
no, it's like, they said, why don't we just put him in old age makeup? Why didn't we just do that?
Oh, that would have looked shocking.
I
That would have
don't-
looked fucking
Not
shocking.
old age, but just because the thing is, when you're
No,
17,
films can't do
when
that.
you're
They're
17,
so
you're
bad at it.
that's a very bold statement that films can't do old age makeup.
Like, yeah, but like they barely ever do it well.
It
You
would
can't
also
make
just
a
be
Zac
weird.
Efron look like 22-year-old Zac Efron actually look like an old guy
You can.
that's not covered in rubber.
You can.
I doubt it.
It wouldn't be that hard.
I've seen loads of
Because your
TV
face shape's
shows.
a bit the same. Well, he doesn't look like Matthew Perry, basically.
Yeah,
At all.
they just don't look. They don't even look that similar.
I can suspend belief given that it's 17 again. I'm not watching a fucking like Oscar film. Like,
I know.
guys,
I
what
can,
are you?
I can suspend belief as well because it's pish.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's pish.
You-
Like, so I'm not going to
But you
be.
meant disbelief. I was just being a prick.
Oh, right. Well,
The phrase is, I can suspend disbelief.
so
I can.
it's 17 years later when he's finished with this point. And yeah.
He's at a Viagra company at this point.
Yeah.
That's what he works for. He works for a Viagra company.
Continuing our trend of characters who are getting buoyed by their own scripts.
And it's a Viagra company that's full of like lassies in their 20s who also work there. And then Matthew Perry's just sitting there. And he works there and he's been working there for like, I think he's just like 13 years or something ridiculous like that.
16 years.
16 years. So
That
he's-
makes sense. So like
he's been-
since these kids have been born, basically.
Right.
Since he was 18,
Rough.
he's been working there and
A
got
Viagra
nowhere.
company.
We also have missed slightly that he's living with his best pal, who's now older because
We've not seen that yet.
he's getting divorced.
Yeah, we've not seen that yet.
We go straight to the Viagra company.
Yeah, they go straight to the Viagra company.
What?
Yeah, uh-huh.
I thought that we went straight to the
No,
them
they-
eating breakfast because I was like, my misophonia is off the charts right now. This guy's chewing, man. It was rank. I honestly missed about 5 minutes of the film because I was just like, I can't listen to this. It was upsetting me.
So he's at the Viagra company anyway. We can go back to we're gonna talk about this
Yes.
guy right in a bit.
Oh,
We go to this Viagra company. And they're talking about doing a promotion. He assumes he's going to get it because he's been working there for 16 years, and he doesn't over like wee Susie who's been working there for like 2 months. And then he gets raging with the guy who's the manager, who's clearly also in his 20s, and he like takes his little earpiece BlackBerry thing and smashes it, and then he's leaving to the left. And I don't know why I found it so funny.
I know exactly who you're about to say.
But he has this box full of stuff. He's leaving the left. The girls are all like, and we're all going to TGI Fridays. And at this point, Swanny decided to tell me, he was like, TGI Fridays is my favourite restaurant in the world.
Right. It is, though.
Favourite restaurant is TGI
So good.
Fridays.
I've never had a bad time at TGI Fridays, apart from the time I went there post breakup. But even then, it was nice because TGI Fridays.
You know, I don't doubt that for a second, based solely on the fact that I have been to Frankie and Benny's more times with Swanny than I have been at any other time in my life.
And that's just cheap TGI Fridays. Because they do like brilliant bacon, chicken, barbecue, fries things.
Swanny lied every single time we went to Frankie and Benny's. He'd say there was a deal, and then at the end I'd be like, "We didn't get any money off our bill." And then
Because the deal was from a set menu that I forgot.
literally, like maybe a few months ago, Swanny's like, "Every single time I lied to you about that to get you to come with me."
See, I can't
I was like,
remember
the
admitting
service
that.
was always terrible in there, man. We never got the money off. He was just making it up every single time. I was like picking what I ordered based on what was part of the deal that Swanny had invented to get me there.
And we always had like a drink or two, so it didn't really matter. But then, you know, it was fine. Apparently, I made this admittance, but I actually can't remember doing that. And I actually, to this moment, was like, yeah, there was a 2-for-1 deal. Or there wasn't. See,
Listen,
wrapped up in my own lies.
I just think that like TGI Fridays is fine. I've been there a couple of times because like one of my good pals used to like work there for years, so like you had a huge discount on it and stuff. It'd probably be the only reason why, other than like one
Does he
time
still
I
work
went.
there?
No, he doesn't.
Damn it. I've not been there in so long. They used to do a bottomless starters. If you finished your
my
starter, they
God.
bring a new one.
man,
You could just eat those.
man.
Oh, TGI Fridays. Fridays? Plural. Yes, multiple restaurants.
So off topic. Okay.
I just find it really funny that anyone's favourite restaurant would be TGI Fridays. It's just so shiny. It's like saying your favourite pub's a Spoons, man.
It's not that bad.
It is.
It's like saying your favourite pub's
It's actually worse. Spoons is cheap.
It's like saying I can't think of another chain of bars.
We can just move on without you making a joke.
Yeah, we
I
can.
wasn't even making a joke, I was just trying to make an apt comparison.
So
So yeah, let's move on.
then we see that he's living with his wee pal.
Yep.
And this is the first time we're introduced to like genuinely I tried to remember to make notes of all the characters' names. I didn't. kept forgetting.
I was
they're
forgetting while I was watching it what their names were.
I feel like his name should be Pinky.
I don't even know if I know Zac Efron's name in it. What's his name?
Mark?
Is it Mark?
His surname is the same as a character.
Mike,
Mike, and his surname is the same as a character from Goldfinger, those two sisters.
Oh, Masterson.
Yes.
No. Mike O'Donnell. It's Mike O'Donnell.
So who the fuck's Masterson then?
The head
pal?
teacher. The
The
head
teacher?
teacher. The head
The
teacher is
principal?
Mrs. Master.
Who
I don't know.
cares?
You've got the wee pal that he lives with, who I'm just gonna call
Bilko.
Bilko.
Aye. Wee Bilko. And his pish.
Right.
Man,
We've got wee Bilko.
I want to look up the characters' names in this because I think this is gonna be hard to follow
No.
otherwise.
His pal's called Ned.
Ned. Yeah, there's Ned,
Of course it is.
and then you've got right. Okay, this is good to have
Ned
on
/
hand.
Wee Bilko.
This is good to have on hand, right? So that's ridiculous. You got Ned. Ned's like house is full of nerdy memorabilia. That's his whole thing, and it becomes relevant later in the film. Apparently, his chewing scarred you.
Yeah,
within
it
the
was
first
horrible.
5 minutes of the film.
There's so much, and then I started to, as the film went on, like get triggered by things that doesn't usually trigger my misophonia. I was like, I think I'm just so angry at this film and the fact that I'm watching it, that I'm just in a very, very bad place right now. And like the fact that I'm watching this and having to watch it stressed me out. This
And
film
having to
felt
write things about it.
yeah, this film felt like eating a dry oatcake. You look at it and you're like, it's not that big. It's going to
It's
be
not
easy.
that bad.
It will be over quickly. And then you put it in your mouth and it's so dry. It's difficult to just keep chewing it, to keep consuming it. I'm like, this is bringing me no sustenance. This is bringing me no joy. There's no taste to this. This is horrible.
You're actually convincing me to rate it lower now, you're saying, because I totally agree.
Do you know what? I'm glad that you feel like that about it because it's exactly how I felt about the first half of Titanic. That is exactly how I felt
very
about
fair.
it. And
Fair.
I couldn't really put it into words other than just like pure rage. And that is how I felt.
At least the oatcake.
But you eat oatcakes all the time. What are you talking about?
She puts things on them though.
No, well, sometimes I have been known to eat a dry oatcake, and that is
What
why.
the fuck are we talking about?
Because I don't enjoy it. Every time I think
So
it's a
why
good
do you
idea.
do it?
Because I forget it's easy. They're in a wee packet. You just lift them on your way to work. You're like, this is at least going to fill me
I
up.
think I stole one once from you and I went, oh, no.
So, yeah, you meet his pal. Then they
Fill you
go.
up.
Then he goes to the school, right? He goes to the school, and he just manages to walk into the school without any anyone escorting him around or anything, and he's just kind of walking around the empty corridors, and it's a bit weird.
And then
He goes
meets-
over to this cabinet. And he sees a picture of himself when he was younger. It's the basketball team, and he's just kind of looking like,
He
oh man.
relives the Bory days.
Why
does.
is he still
The glory
dripping
days.
at this point, by the way? He's still so wet. He's crawled out of the water ages ago.
Wait,
What are you talking
you
about?
are so far
Where
forward.
the hell?
He's not soaking yet.
He's not been
Why
in
is
the
he in
water.
the school?
Because he's...
Because he's gonna meet fairy janitor mother.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right,
You're
you.
doing a me.
You are doing
I'm jumping
sorry.
ahead. I'm doing a
This is
Swanny.
how annoying it must have
So
been for you.
he fairy janitor mother comes
No,
along.
sorry, the keeper of the shrine.
The keeper of the shrine. No, the ward. Did you not call him the
Nah, I
ward?
called him the keeper of the shrine.
I've got fairy god janitor for this guy.
That's good.
Fairy god janitor is better than fairy janitor mother or whatever the fuck I was saying.
I think keeper of the shrine is pretty good. The glory shrine.
So he's like, oh,
This old man, he's mental looking.
yeah, he's just a janitor. He comes along, and it's obviously an amalgamation of It's a Wonderful Life, the like Ghost of Christmas Past film, Freaky Friday.
A Christmas Carol?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know the title to that film. You could correct me on that.
Yeah.
Nobody would have known what I was talking about otherwise. It's not like it's one of the most fucking popular stories
Don't
of
get
all
angry at
time.
me for being accurate.
So
Can you clip that?
you've got fairy janitor mother, and he's like, oh, I bet you'd like to be 17 again. And he's like, oh, I definitely would. And he was like, oh, don't know, it's got its trials and tribulations. Are you sure? And he's like, no, definitely sure, that's what I want. And he's like, okay, no problem. And then the school bell rings and he disappears.
Yeah, this menace just like disappears into
It's
Why
the
is he
Disappear.
always smiling like that?
Because he's a menace. He's a
No
ghost.
need,
He's not
man.
real.
He's a ghost.
He's so much.
He's fairy janitor mother.
He feels like he's that character that you do when somebody beeps at you on the road or like cuts you off or something, and Swanny turns to them and does this kind of like menacing face. That's what the fairy god janitor reminded me of, because he just didn't need to be showing that emotion any of the time that he was on screen, and yet that was the choice that he made.
He's jolly. He's trying to be welcoming. It'd be weird if he was like eerie. You don't want eerie fairy janitor mother.
Like just pushing a mop bucket about, grinning from ear to ear for no reason. It was just too much.
He's probably my pick for the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, he's 100% in the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
It has to be him.
Like
He's a natural choice for this.
Because
He is a natural choice, but I'm very convinced by Crackles as well, who we'll get into later.
Oh shit! Yes, shit. No, you're right. Crackles. Absolutely, we'll get to Crackles.
Okay.
So he's walking about school, the school bell rings, and then he like meets his Waynes, and his daughter's pals are all like, "Hey, Mr. O'Donnell, how's it going?" And they're like, "What the fuck are you doing here, Dad? Why are you in school? Why can't you just waited outside?" And he's like, "We're going for ice cream, kids." And they're like, "Why the fuck are we going for ice cream?"
Yeah, and the daughter's sitting there listening to music.
No, they're still in the school at this point.
Right.
So the daughter's just like, "Why the
Calm
fuck are you
down.
here? Why are we going for ice cream?" Right? And the daughter's just being an arsehole. Like, I know that the presumption here is that the dad's been a prick his entire life, but like, fuck me, I would not be putting up with this amount of cheek from anyone. Like,
they're stropping
I don't
about.
believe in slapping children, but she'd be getting a fucking slap.
This ice cream place, I was like, this is Claude's personal hell. If I had to pick anywhere for, like, if Claude was going to hell, this is where she'd go. There's screaming Waynes. It just looks sticky. It's loud. It's too bright. It's just and there's people just in your personal space. They're at this cramped table. The food looks shite. I'm like, I could honestly, actually no, scratch that. My personal hell would be having to go to this place with Claude and hearing her moan about it.
And I'm there, and I'm really, really happy that
I'd
I'm
be
back.
sitting pulling all my eyelashes out.
And I'm
all
like,
my
guys, I got
nails.
the jumbo cocktail ice cream
Scratching
extravaganza.
my head.
Spills it on the table.
Actually, this is just Swanny trying to drag us somewhere that we don't want to be.
This is Swanny trying to drag us to fucking Frankie and Benny's.
TGI Fridays. Nah, Frankie Benny's, there's more of them, so you get more of a
Frankie
chance
pennies you
to-
can afford.
The price difference isn't that much. So I would go to TGI Fridays if it had been in Stirling or Falkirk, but there never was one.
So then you have this moment where he's talking to his son and he's like, "How are you getting on in the basketball?" And the kid's like, "Yeah, man, it's cool. The son's name's Alex. Didn't just find that out on my phone, I remembered." And then he's speaking to his daughter. Well, the son says, like, "Oh, by the way, like, my sister's got into this, like, really good uni, I guess, in America." And he's like, "Oh, Maggie, that's great." And then she's just kind of sitting there bopping away to her tune. She's got headphones on and he keeps saying her name and she's like, pretend to ignore him, and then he picks up the end of the earphones and it's not connected to anything.
Yeah,
She's
she's
very
getting-
similar to that Lemmy sketch
Yes,
where he's doing
and
the same thing
she-
at the bus stop. We cut to the house. So he goes to his house. I don't really know why. I guess like he's just randomly decided that he's going to go and accost his estranged wife.
Yeah, this
today.
is where I realised, and like luckily I had this thought right before two characters that I did actually like a bit came in. I was like, everyone in this film sucks. I don't feel sorry for anyone. I'm not rooting for any of these characters. The children, and also I hate this when films do this, but I was like, they're so, like, you know when you can tell a person who has not been a teenager for a while writes a film with teenagers like from an
Yes.
adult's perspective in it. It's like, oh, she's so moody. She just wants to listen to her music and like
And kiss boys all the time.
he's just kind of awkward and shy and wants to be in the basketball team but can't, and they don't know how to communicate with their dad, and like, yeah, there's grains of truth in all of this, but they just felt so like teenager McTeenager. Like it was just so like, I don't feel like either of them are like believable characters at all.
No, totally.
He just feels so sorry for himself. And like I just so far have not liked anyone in this film.
Well, to be fair, I did write down, this is one caveat I would give. I do quite like Matthew Perry in this role.
Yeah.
It's quite
But
good.
his character sucks.
His character sucks.
1,000%,
He's doing
but
it. He's doing it.
There's not
well.
enough. Yeah, there's not enough Matthew
Also,
Perry. in
I
it.
don't think Leslie Mann's doing anything.
No,
bad
well,
in
she's
this
about to
either.
come in. That's when I was like, okay, I like her.
Yeah.
She's all right.
So
Well, I guess
But
I'm
His
yeah,
wife-
we've got for a bit.
for a bit.
his wife is called Scarlett. So he's obviously dropping the kids off from their little ice cream adventure at Frankie and Benny's, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go and accost my estranged wife now, and she's just kind of like.
Building a
She's
garden?
for some reason owns a fucking industrial sized wood chipper
Oh,
for no reason, and she's chucking his shit into it, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" That's all my stuff. And she's like, well, yeah, it's all your unfinished projects that you've done over the years. Like, look at this. This was your barbecue. Look at this. This is your hammock that you gave up on after a day because you couldn't be arsed and you were out of breath and like just couldn't be fucked anymore. I want to make my own garden. I want to be a landscaper. I don't know if she is a landscaper or she's decided.
Well,
upon her
he's like
divorce.
landscape design. And I was like, oh, it's the first time I've just written in capital letters, like, this guy sucks.
Just nagging away. Oh,
Like,
don't know, babe. Maybe not.
I just, and then he goes on to say like 3 more things that gave me that reaction. Because he's just like, oh, you've got to understand how difficult it is for me. I'm extremely disappointed with my life.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry? What? Like, who says that to someone?
I'm so disappointed with my life, so I'm going to put down you trying to be good with your life.
He's just like, landscape design. All right.
So then her pal shows up, right? And she's just kind of like, and like the pal's personality was really weird. I don't know what they were getting at with the pal because she's only in it like twice.
And she's so
If
strange.
that. I don't know if she's only in it once or twice, but she's just a really fucking odd character.
She is odd, but I honestly think she may be my favourite person in this film. She's the only person I don't have direct beef with.
Well, she went up to fucking Leslie Mann, Scar, and said that you've got the arse of a 12-year-old boy.
She does
Like,
say that.
is that forgivable?
What
I
does
don't think
that
so.
mean?
That's fucking
Look.
weird.
Look, yes.
Like, does she mean
I
that
don't
in
disagree
like,
with that.
Either she could mean that in an insulting way, and then it's just rude, or she means it in a complimentary
is,
way,
'cause she's-
and then it's really fucking weird.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, you've got the butt of a 12-year-old boy. She says it like she's jealous.
But let's just... I think it's some of the compliments that Swanny's given us over the years.
What? Wait a minute.
I don't mean in a sexual way or anything.
But even the,
But
You got to
feel
caveat that with
I
that.
feel like
Jesus
you
Christ.
just come out with things sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think she's maybe like, she's not married to this
but I'm
compliment.
not scripted.
Yeah,
She's scripted.
yeah, all right.
That went through a
I
process.
feel as if, yeah, well then,
Why
yeah.
are you apologising for the
Because
weird
I
pal?
need to like someone in this film, man, and she's the only one. I was going to say she's the only one that I don't think's a pedo, but fuck, maybe no.
This is beginning the undercurrent of this film being very strange when it comes to
Age and
Yeah.
familial relationships.
very strange.
So, then we get... He's like standing in the garden looking over basically just his life, essentially. That it's all ravaged and it's been thrown into a wood chipper, and it starts to rain and it gets dark like that for some reason.
Yeah, midi rain because we're sad.
And then it's like just pitch black outside. He starts driving home in the like pouring rain, and then he, I guess, must stop on a bridge, and he sees fairy janitor mother,
The keeper
like,
of the shrine.
The fairy god janitor.
The keeper of the shrine.
We're all gonna argue this.
We'll put a poll up about it. I want to see what people prefer.
And he again just does that big cheesy grin at him and like winks at him, I think, as well, and then fucks himself into the river.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like
Apparently-
full on throws himself in.
According to my notes, I actually have there's actually I've written down my course of coming up with a name for this guy because I put he falls in the hole because of the magic mop man. And then the fairy grand janitor, question mark, which I realise is not even the fairy god janitor. This is too many names.
Fairy grand janitor.
Grand janitor. The fairy god janitor is, I think, what I meant, but I can't really speak to my. None of this makes sense. All of my notes are just like rage scribbles in blue this time. Just not. I was not having a good time.
Yeah, he's a very strange character choice for your, guy that's going to take you to the past, and you're going.
Yeah.
The spirit guide.
Like, why is it not the coach?
Why is it not the coach?
Why is it not the
the
coach?
only person who plays themselves at both age.
Yeah.
Who is the janitor? Because it's never it's always someone that tangentially gets linked back. Like even with Wizards of Oz and stuff like that. The
Yeah, it's
characters
like
that do that.
if it was the coach, you could be like, "Oh shit, you always knew. You
I
always
always
knew
knew.
I was gonna come back. That's why you're still here. You were waiting for me to come back."
Because you're.
I didn't think if it was the coach, that's the best option. That would have made sense. But like when I was watching this, I was like, why does he need to have a spirit guide? I feel as if he'd like fallen, hit in his head, or fell into the water for some reason or something. I just didn't feel as if
didn't
there
need a
had to be a
spirit guide.
person
No.
attached to this.
I guess
that's the
they
thing.
just wanted something funny. Honestly, I'm glad we have him.
That's another theme of this, I think, as well. It's just having random, like, the pal doesn't make any fucking sense either. There's no point to her
She's just
either.
there. Also, I assume because she was like, oh, like, I was your bridesmaid, so I have to be there to hold your hand through the divorce. And then he keeps pronouncing her name wrong. I'm like, I'm assuming if she was her bridesmaid, he like knew her in school also. It's so obnoxious that he can't pronounce her name.
I think he's
They've
just
known each
checked
other.
out.
Oh my God.
So
As am I.
Chandler also falls into the river and becomes Zac Efron at this point.
Yeah.
So he wakes up and he's just like drives home. Now we're soaking, Abby.
Great quote. Please remember that for later. I need to quote that. Now we're soaking, Abby.
I don't want you to remember that for later, man.
It's a very funny quote, though.
But what I was going to say is you've just hit the nail on the head. Chandler falls in the river and becomes Zac Efron. That's just how it feels. It doesn't feel as if he's been transported back in time. Chandler
not.
falls in the river and Zac Efron walks out, and it's like, what?
Well, that's literally what
Chandler
happens.
goes in, Troy Bolton comes out, and I'm like, I just don't. The premise of this entire film, I'm not buying into it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Sorry, I don't.
You can't
Yeah,
like
sorry, I don't.
you can. I don't think whack the premise because the premise isn't that film's premise.
Claude
It's
loves 17 again.
no, listen. I just don't think it's fair to judge this film as if it's like the other films that we've seen. It's closer to Twilight.
All I'm saying is one of them had to be a reasonably unknown actor. That's all I'm saying.
Are you?
Yeah. If one of them was an actor that we just didn't
Right,
know,
okay.
do you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
just they're both so well known for a particular
Iconic
character,
roles.
an iconic
Is that-
role.
Yeah,
I think
you're
you could-
right with this.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think you could have two. I think it makes sense to have two well-known actors in that.
Yeah, from the point of view of marketing, like,
aye, and casting and funding, but ultimately just fucking get people that look more similar to each other. I
yeah,
would say.
two famous actors who look more similar.
Yeah.
Anything. Anyway.
So again, I'm glad Matthew Perry got the work. It's the thing I'm really happy with. Even if I don't like the project, if there's an actor in something again that, you know, that I've seen before, I'm like, oh, I'm glad they're still working. It gives me a wee smile.
That's great, man.
Sorry, I thought we were here to talk about films. I would just fucking shut up. On we go. Fuck me.
So Chandler falls in the river, becomes Zac, and then he drives home,
Soaking
soaking.
wet.
and then he gets into a shower with all of his clothes on
That's so strange.
because he is wet.
Because we didn't watch this film to see Zac Efron shirtless, apparently.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Also, he's already been shirtless at this point
Yeah.
once. Why
Like,
not be
that-
shirtless for the shower?
For that little swish.
So then, for some reason, his wee pal, who I've forgotten the name of already
Ned.
again, Josh.
Ned.
Ned. Right, Ned.
No, sorry. Wee
Ned's
Bilko.
Ned's-
Wee Bilko.
Wee Bilko's bathroom like has a like full like body mirror right outside of the shower for
course it
some
does.
reason. So while he's showering in his clothes with like for whatever reason he's doing that, he looks up and he sees that he's not Matty Perry anymore, he's Zac Efron, and he's like, what the fuck? Why do I look like that? And then because he screams because he gets a fright, his wee pal, wee Bilko shows up and he's like,
I do like this scene.
what's going on? And then a fight scene ensues between them using all these different props that are
brilliant.
in
No,
Wee Bilko's
It's
house.
honestly the best editing in the film because you get like a very funny cut from him swinging an axe to immediately Zac Efron leaving the room, but then suddenly he's chasing with like a fucking like a flail with like 4 heads on it, swinging after him. Like, great, very funny.
I did put, I was like, I don't know their living situation. So yeah, for context, me and Swanny share a flat. So I don't know whether their living situation is like, Swanny is Matthew Perry / Zac Efron because of the breaking the guy's wee headpiece and just general rage and all that sort of
Right.
stuff. Or
Thank you.
whether Swanny is Ned after Swanny like sells his novel and becomes rich and has a house full of like kind of
That's not
geeky,
what we spend our
expensive
money on.
stuff.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
some of the money.
And I'm Matthew Perry coming out of a like loveless divorce, just mooching about, feeling sorry for myself. Now living off Swanny's money in Swanny's palace.
Both could work. Both could be true.
So
But yeah, I've literally written down that is this how Swanny would decorate if he had money.
Jeez. Fuck's sake.
totally
So
fucking
I
is.
can't speak, but I can be insulted on this. Right. Sorry, I fucking don't, guys.
So they have this like wee fight scene. They eventually get lightsabers out and they're having like a lightsaber
That
duel.
was the other thing that triggered my misophonia.
Lightsaber
The
sounds?
lightsaber note. That's how angry I was at this film.
Wait, so oh my god, this is going to be a nightmare.
enjoyed
when
that
when we
bit.
watch Star Wars, this is going to be a nightmare with all the.
But I think if I'm not hating it as much because I was so already like
but you would
done
hate
with it.
well, especially the Attack of the
man.
Clones.
Thing is,
We
normally,
should just show Abby Attack of the Clones with no context for the rest of
normally
stuff.
it's only like eating or
No,
drinking
Phantom Menace
noises.
is even more baffling. It's
So,
not as bad as.
but, like-
anyway, sorry.
Okay, that's like the 5th film that's not this film that we've talked about tonight. So they're having a lightsaber duel, and as they're having this duel, he's like spitting out facts because, like, obviously he thinks this guy's an intruder. So he's like spitting out these facts, like, oh, like they're shit facts as well. He's like, you helped me cheat on my math test, and
He's like public record. You're like, is it? Where?
what does that mean? And then he's like, oh, where are the other, like?
You have an undescended testicle, and he's like, that's Googleable. I'm like, why is his testicle
Googleable.
on Google?
Yeah, look, honestly though, as shite as those bits were, there was a bit of energy there. I found it quite funny. It was
Yeah.
like one of the 3 or 4 times that I actually had a little giggle in the film.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say I elicited a laugh, but I found this more watchable.
I'd like to just expose Swanny here and say that there was a couple of laughs, more than a couple of laughs. I was sitting next to him.
I had a
He
couple
was
of laughs, absolutely, but some of them were
quite
also
a few laughs. You had quite a few laughs.
3 or 4
about things that
at
weren't
most.
funny.
Yeah, 3
Like,
or 4.
Clever.
I never said clever. When the fuck? I never used the word, oh, that's clever. Not on this film. But and all the other
You
films that I
vibed
watched.
that though.
I vibed what?
You were like,
I vibed fucking what? Getting actual angry here. Explain yourself now.
so defensive about this.
I'm defensive. Right. Yes. Just realised what I did there.
so then he picks up their yearbook and goes ahead with him, sees him, and he's like, oh shit, that's you. Realizes, and then he still hits him in the head with the book anyway.
Now he drops it.
Yeah, he drops it.
he gets a
That's
frame.
how he
It's a big photo. It's like a big glass photo frame thing.
Yeah.
I think
Kills
So
wee
then-
it would
Velcro.
be so funny if he just killed him with
Wee Velcro's dead. The rest of the film is a fucking
The rest of
Weekend
the
at
film
Bernie's
is
film.
him trying to seduce his wife now that he's out of the
Yeah,
picture. Wee Bilko's big revenge.
Wee Velcro's big revenge.
So and then it cuts to them. They're sitting in a dining room.
Good name.
Wee Bilko's got all these books out, all his wee fancy books. Just,
I've written-
fun facts.
All the books ...
That's
This
pointed
is how
Swanny
Swanny
there.
would try to help me with this problem.
What, you got my
Getting out
D&D
loads of
books?
D&D
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, maybe. For reference points, I guess.
And then he's like, oh, like, what could this be? And then they're going through all these like fantasy tropes. I wasn't
Yeah.
listening enough to care about
This
what
is
he was saying.
when I was like,
Oh,
Zac
yeah.
Effron actually has quite good comedic delivery and comedic timing that I kind of forgot about. I've not seen a film with him in it in a while, and when I say in a while, I mean like not one that I watched when I was a kid. And he's like mouthing off about how he's like, "Are you sure you're not a supernatural creature of some kind?" He's like, "No, I've known you for my whole life. Surely I would have told you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "A vampire wouldn't tell, a cyborg wouldn't know." And Zac Efron goes, "Shut up."
No, I laughed at that bit. I also laughed
I
at
was
this
like,
bit.
he's got good, like he's got good.
Ned's actually quite funny.
Oh, I'm trying to talk up Zac Efron here. I think he's got good comedic timing.
He is.
Yeah.
He is a good actor.
He's good.
He
He's
carries this film, let's be honest. Which,
He's-
I mean,
listen.
I'm assuming he was paid for that.
That's-
Like,
No. He doesn't carry it. He tries to carry it. He
Yeah.
does an admirable job.
My book has
kicks it
several.
along.
He kicks it along the road.
This book has several
Spells
comments.
half of it. What? Sorry? I was getting caught up in my metaphors again.
Oh, really? Again.
Shock.
Yeah, I make several points where it's like Zac Efron is doing the most in this film, and he's just trying his hardest.
Yeah.
He's like, a lot of my viewing pleasure from this came from Zac Efron. I was never a huge High School Musical kid when I was younger. Like, not that I didn't like it, I loved it, but I was never like hugely into it like some folk were. Like I'd watch it when it was on, kind of thing. But
I watched the live
right,
debut
did I
of
ask?
High School Musical.
asked.
This is shocking.
In the middle of talking, you're interrupting me right now.
with relevant facts.
Yeah, you can spit your relevant facts once I'm finished speaking. Remember what your sister said? Stop interrupting us on the podcast.
Aye.
Shout out to Kay. Thank you very much.
Shout out to his family. Every episode.
God, please,
Right,
please take us
so-
away from here.
I'm getting mixed up with where I am. So yeah, eventually the pal comes to the conclusion. He's like, "Oh, it's the spirit guide. That's what you need to like figure out what you're doing wrong in life." And then it's again, there's another trope in film. So they've got like Christmas Carol, Freaky Friday, It's a Wonderful Life, and now they've got a little bit of like Groundhog Day, where it's like you need to break the curse, and then you'll go back to being Matthew Perry again. I just don't know where they're going with their like film tropes here.
I know that the guy is kind of like generally magical, spooky vibes, but we're only taking his wee pal's word for it based on a D&D book that he is in fact a spirit guide. So this guy, for all we know, could just hilariously be about at coincidental times. He's actually got nothing to do with the plot whatsoever.
We've just witnessed
He's
the
an
fucking-
actual janitor.
Yeah, who tried to kill himself.
A man masquerading as a janitor at a high school. His life can't be going that well.
That's why he throws himself off the bridge.
So, where are we now? Sorry. Yeah. I've written here, Swanny has been genuinely chortling at nerd jokes.
Okay, maybe 5 or 6 times then.
So now he's like, right, I've got to go to school and find out what's going on. He's like, I'm gonna go look for the fairy god janitor.
Yeah.
So he goes to the school. He's still soaking wet. He's in this soaking wet suit still. Now we're
Why is he still soaking?
Yeah, now we're
soaking. Why is he soaking? Why is he soaking?
Because he
It's been
dropped
so
in the
long.
river.
Yeah, he got dropped
And
in
then
the
he had a
river, and
shower,
then he had the shower. But then they had that fight. Then he sat with a thing on his head
Yeah, they
for
clearly looked
ages.
up books for
They
ages.
had all these books out. Why is he still dripping wet?
Like, he had to go and get another shower before he went out.
Clearly, very clearly. So, wait, have we missed the video gaming bit yet? Or is
No,
that,
no,
okay,
I've
okay,
got,
sorry,
it's
sorry.
coming. It's
Yeah,
okay.
good.
No, it's okay. So, yeah, it's so funny as well at this point, by the way, because when his wee pal's like, "Oh, it must be your spirit guide." Oh no, it's not. It's in the school. Zac Efron's walking about, being like, "Where are you, spirit guide?" And then there's a part that seems like it was unscripted, where Zac Efron kind of cringes. It looks like he's just cringing at the fact that he's had to go, "Where are you, spirit guide?" Like at his own line. He's just like,
Yeah.
and then. Yeah, he can't find the spirit guide because he's not there. But there's like a dripping bucket that like leads him into the basketball hall. Yeah, at that point, so he's like, okay, this is my like, what's the word I'm looking for? My future.
My destiny.
My destiny. This is my destiny. I've got to go back and win the basketball tournament because I didn't do it the last time. So he's like, well, to do that, I'm going to have to get enrolled at this school. So he goes back home, and then we get to the gaming part. The fucking shocking depiction of gaming and films like this especially is just like so frustrating.
It's another trope, and it's in everything. Like, people play games in media completely detached from how gaming actually exists. It's always like, oh my god, level 6. Hey, well done, never got there. You're like, we don't
Also,
talk
just
about games like that anymore.
Particularly in this film, he's got like 7 monitors because he's supposed to be rich, and then like one monitor's got like fucking Tetris on it, one's got like Call of Duty.
He's got Halo on one, and he's
Yeah.
playing it with like one hand somehow.
Then he's got like Outrun, like one of those car games, and then he's got like Tekken on one, and he's got like one controller in his hand, and he's also on a live stream, I guess, as well, and he's live streaming himself playing 7 games.
7?
I never noticed any of this because I've literally.
Fuck's sake. I didn't even notice
It's just
that.
shocking.
I didn't even. None of this registered to me whatsoever because I've never gamed.
You played Nancy Drew.
Abby is a big
Exposed.
Nancy Drew player.
Right.
And then she gets
Her
annoyed at
interactive
me
Nancy
for
Drew
not playing
PC
it right.
games. No, I don't let you play.
You
can
only play
watch.
once. I can watch.
You watch over my shoulder.
I don't want to do that.
Mum
though.
says I need to let you have a shot next time. But no, I've never played a kind of like one of those wee BP games. Do you know what I mean, with the consoles and TV.
One of those wee
BP
games.
games.
You know what I mean? Like
No, I
No.
don't.
like
COD?
that's one of them.
What does COD stand for?
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. So proud of yourself.
You did it.
But I've never played a game like that, so that's completely passed me by. I mean, I've obviously seen you play games. So I think if I thought about it hard enough, I'd be like, yeah, that's not what gaming looks like.
Yeah,
but I'm
okay.
so detached from it that I didn't like this.
You must
Didn't.
know that you can't play 7 games at the same time, ever. Not even
Yeah.
someone who's very good at games could do that.
I mean, fair.
Whilst holding one controller.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have done similar.
In one
Fuck
hand.
off.
Shut up, man.
That's more just bored of like watch something. It's usually watching something and playing a game at the same time.
Oh, so you can watch and play a game, so you're doing two things. You're not even playing one of them. Is that the same as playing 7 games at the same time?
I guess it's not. That's me
So,
being Boyd again.
And then he's like, right, you're going to have to... This is the point where Ned, I guess his name is, becomes like his dad for the film. And they assume this new relationship for half of it where he's like being his dad. So he's like, you're going to have to be my dad and enroll me at this school. And then they have this like trope where he's like, I will never, ever, ever do that. But it goes on a little wee bit too long.
Yeah.
He's like, I will never go back to that school because that's where I got really... Never, ever. And it stops and then he's like, ever. And then he's back at the school. And they both look fucking shocking in this scene. I know that's the point. I know that that's the point. But man, even for the time, even for what they were trying to achieve there, they both look fucking shocking.
But to be fair, like, he goes in that outfit. At one point, there's a scene where like the kind of cool girls in school walk past and they're like, ugh, disgusting. What the fuck is he wearing? I'm like, nah. Zac Effron shows up at your school out of the blue. I don't care what he's wearing.
Yeah.
People are not, like, maybe they're not going to be like, oh wow, he looks really hot. Maybe they're not going to notice how good looking he is, but they're not going to be like, he is disgusting. Get him out of here.
As well as that, though, I don't know if this happens like this time or like when he gets his makeover and goes to the school, but there's at some point where like a school security guard like squares up to him and is like, "What are you looking at, punk?"
I've got it written down.
Like everyone in this school is so fucking aggressive. Like he's literally like puffs his chest at him and is like, "What are you looking at, punk?" And you're like, "Jesus, man, fucking hell."
I have so many. I have actually been really going to struggle to get through this because there's so many things in this section where I just was like, there are. I don't. Are we at, so where are we right now? Where are we on your list?
This is the principal's office.
Principal's office.
So we're at the principal's office.
Where Ned is
where you have the
to be his dad.
Yes. We have the introduction of Mrs. Masterson, which is what I think her name is. It's Jan Levinson from The Office.
Yeah.
That's how you know her.
I like her as an actress. She's
So
also
do
in the
I.
Bold type. She's good.
I think she's good in this film as well. I think she works as a like a head teacher.
She does her best,
Yeah.
but every woman in this film is pathetic. This film thinks women are pathetic. There's every single woman in this film does something at some point where I'm like, man, this women don't do this. Like, this is not how people are, especially the daughter character, Maggie. So difficult to watch some of the stuff that she does.
Yeah.
The mum as well is just like so easily bought into doing really terrible things, and like I'm like, no one would do this. The head teacher, I was like, oh my god, of course she's the one character throughout this, the one woman who acts the way that I think a woman would act, and then at the end of the film, like, spoilers, she ends up getting off on Ned for no reason other than the fact that he knows about some nerdy stuff, and I was like, oh man.
It's because they can speak Elvish together.
As I said, this film thinks women are pathetic.
I generally would take it a step further. I think it thinks human beings are pathetic.
Yeah.
I think its commentary on the human species is not great.
Yeah. So we meet the head teacher. She like lets him into the school based on like the fact that he's got straight A's on this like fake school degree from a previous school, and that he's went to some hot dog eating competition, which is like a little quip. Which
Yeah, I'd love to have done that. I want to
go
go
to a
to
hot
a
dog
Coney Island hot dog eating contest. I think that'd be quite fun. But that scene
that'd be bogging.
It would be bogging, to be honest, but I'd give it a go. But like, honestly, that scene is so strange. Like, he, despite the fakeness of it, like straight A's, blah blah blah, he wouldn't get in, let alone because of his dad's behaviour. Because he's just Ned is just immediately hitting on this woman in the most obscene, hot, like nice guy sort of pickup artist way.
Yeah. One of the
it's like,
lines
sorry
that-
about my dad, but he's a bit of a sex pest. That's what I feel like Zac Efron's just sitting cringing in the background of this.
One of
Fuck's
the
sake.
lines that I've got written down here is, I guess, like either Zac Efron or him talks about Jan Levinson's hair, and then he goes, "Would the lady mind if I smelled it?" Like,
Why?
why?
Like,
What?
have you never left the house before,
what?
man?
I don't think he has.
Also, which is really funny is that when I was a kid, I thought this was Nicole Kidman.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't until I watched it like this time and more recently. I think I watched a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, that's Jan from The Office. But as a child, I fully accepted that this was Nicole Kidman.
She wouldn't lower herself. to this.
I know. Now with context, I'm like, that was a
Imagine
ridiculous
going
thing to
from,
think.
What, Eyes Wide Shut?
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge to 17 again.
17 again.
So
You could see it for her.
at this point, we leave the principal's office and we're introduced to Crackles. Crackles is the school bully.
Yeah.
Crackles would never in real life ever be a school bully because he's just like,
So lame.
he'd be the kind of guy who was like in the skateboarding group in my school, you know.
Who punched
like,
the walls and
yeah.
drank energy drinks.
Yeah,
You
he
know-
would be like one of the monster guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even give him that, you know.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, he's not allowed it.
He's got a can of Monster, the same can of Monster every single day, but he's just got like Ribena.
Yeah, no, he's not allowed it because he did something. So it's like he banned. It's like some sort of report card, no monster or something like that.
There was a guy who came into my
gimp.
school one day and was like,
No monster.
a new kid started and he was like, I got kicked out of my old school because I smoked an Eckie.
That is what Crackles would say.
It's something Crackles would
So,
say.
to give the context of why we call him Crackles, it's because in his very first scene he goes and cracks his neck as he walks past Zac Effron, trying to be threatening, and it's like, I just went, Crackles, fuck off. And then I think, what's his name, Zach?
yeah, Zach,
Stan.
John, Stan.
It's Stan, because I've written down Stan McChad as his name.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. See, we're all funny. We're all coming up with names. That's good. Sorry, I didn't mean that to sound like, yeah, you're funny too, Abby. That's not what I meant.
This is why we keep you around.
Yeah, Abby, well done.
Yeah, see, I realised why we picked this film. That was clever. Well done, Abby. That was funny.
Clever.
Anyway,
So then he's like, right, okay, look at what are you wearing? Like, what is Abby
We've
gesturing
moved
at?
past it, but I just noticed I've written it down, is that when the guy, the dad, Ned, is meeting the head teacher, he shakes her hands and then goes, I think our hands just made a baby. And I've just been like,
I missed that line.
this
Yeah, so did
wasn't
I.
even funny.
No.
Did you watch the extended version of this?
He shakes her hand, looks her in the eye and goes, I think our hands just made a baby.
Ew.
Yeah, he would be getting arrested that day.
Like, how is she not just like, let's just get you both out of here? This is a school. I have safeguarding concerns about everyone else in this building. Like,
And my alarm bells are going off.
To be fair,
as
it is
soon as
America,
I
though.
talk to you. What, sorry?
I said, to be fair, it is America though.
Yep.
To be fair, it is America though.
So he's like, right, we're dressed shocking here. We're gonna have to have a makeover. So he goes and gets himself a haircut.
So we get a makeover montage.
We don't get a makeover montage.
we
This
do.
would be the perfect spot for a makeover montage. Like, a makeover montage to me would be like him going through the shops and being like, oh, try this on. And he's wearing like a pink tight t-shirt. And then they're like, that's a bit too ladyish. That would be the kind of thing that would fit in this film. But it didn't. They just kind of like cut to him coming in on like a cool convertible and he's wearing a tight white t-shirt and some jeans and he's had like the kind of High School Musical haircut.
See, it just registered to me as a makeover montage. So fair enough. I heard the music and I saw him go, better get changed. I went, yeah, cool.
And then you just blanked out. And
blanked out.
you just
Started to dissociate.
Just dissociates and just
He was
loses myself.
so.
kind of made it up
God.
in your head
Aye.
without even having to watch it. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what's happening right now. in
And
this
snap
film.
back.
So, just want to make a quick comment as well. What was with this haircut and its chokehold on society at the time? Because, like, I know style changed and everything, but it just looks shite.
If anyone can make it look good, though, Zac Efron still looks attractive, even
he
with
looks
the shite
attractive.
haircut.
Listen, but not as attractive as when he's got long hair.
Yes.
In the first bit.
Yeah.
It's so
He's
much hotter.
nailing it.
He's got a kind of like Beast before he turns into the Beast vibe at that point.
All right.
That's the exact kind of
I was
haircut
wondering
he's
where
got.
you were going with that. He's got kind of a Beast from X-Men vibe. I was like, what?
I do find Beast from X-Men kind of hot.
That's
Is
'cause
that the
it's
blue
Nicholas
one?
Hoult, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well. So, and then at this point he goes to his first class.
This, right. Why? He gets that he doesn't look the same as he did before. And he also gets that he's not meant to be him as an adult, because otherwise why the fuck would he be sitting in these classes? Why does he keep waving at people? What does he think is going to happen? He keeps waving at people that he knows as his adult version of himself, and then being like, now they're looking at me. What? Yeah, you waved at
Yeah,
them.
once is fine, but he does it about
Also-
9 times.
The entire premise of this film is based on have these children never seen a photo of their dad when he was younger?
Yeah.
Like, so
But it is-
many.
it's-
Because I was like, surely the daughter later on when she's trying to hit on him or whatever, it would be like, Joe, it's a bit weird. He looks kind of like my dad did when he was younger. And I was like, wait, hang on. Why? Because the mum is like, you look so much like my. She said this an earshot
like
of them
I
as
was going
well.
to say that like they address
fair
the
point.
fact that he looks like him. It's not like they just pretend that he doesn't.
Also,
but like the
he's
kids
a
don't react to it.
Young parent. It's not even as if it's like, oh, like that's what my dad looked like when he was 17. He had me when he was 35, so I never really knew him looking
Yeah,
young.
yeah, you're totally right.
The idea is that, like, I guess when they were like 4 or 5, he's not going to look that different to like what he looked like when he was 17. How do they not recognize him as like, or like fair enough. You know, they're not going to be like, oh, my dad fell into a magic pit and now he's a younger version of himself. But surely they would be like, I don't fancy him because he looks exactly like my dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is
Look, it could work that
just-
he's been such a
to
shy
be
dad
fair-
that no one gives a fuck.
To be fair, some people have become estranged from their parents and ended up fucking them. It's happened.
Oh, I hate that this film has made us even get to this point in the conversation. But
wasn't
what I
even
have
me who
written
brought it
is,
up.
right, see, no matter what kind of personal epiphany or change this arsehole achieves by the end of this film, it is never going to be enough to make up for the fact that for his children's entire life up until this point, he has made them and his wife feel like they're a burden who have ruined his existence. There is no
Yeah,
amount of
there's no justification.
fun ice cream or weird parties where your daughter hits on you is going to make up for the fact that, like, they are clearly the horrible people that they've become because of you.
Yeah, fucking too right. Fucking, you're too right, man. No, but
Say
like,
it, sister.
scream it.
How is this the most passionate?
Being on the podcast about
Yeah.
anything.
Need to pick more films that Abby hates.
So, I didn't realize, I was looking for one. See, last episode, I was like, oh, we've all kind of been on the opposing side of a film. Like, look for one that, that you didn't like. And then we went for Goldfinger instead because we went more for the route of, like, something that's important to all of us. I didn't think the 17 Again was going to be the film that
Do you know what the thing is as well?
broke you.
I electively watched this a few years ago because I watched things with my sister and I'm like either show her things that are like quintessential teen viewing that she's not seen or it's something we watched as a kid and really enjoyed. If anyone else is experiencing feelings of remember 17 Again, maybe I should watch that film, how nostalgic, don't bother. It's just not worth it. It's not that good. Like, it's just not that good. It hasn't aged well. It's not that funny.
I don't think it was appropriate then
No, it wasn't. We're actually all lucky to have turned out as well adjusted as we have.
for watching that fucking movie at a formative age.
And now goes to his first class.
Okay.
That's where we're at. And he then decides, again, you're so right. He knows he's not Matthew Perry anymore, right? And he takes a call from his wife, like, as if that's all right, not thinking like, fuck, I'm 17, I better take this like call from my wife where I'm supposed to be at our divorce meeting. Like, so he does that while he's in class. And then at this moment, this girl's like kind of comes over and is leering at him and she's like, would you consider dating a 10th grader? Which
This made me laugh. 'cause
Leslie Mann's like lawyer hears over the phone and then is like, I think we could go for full custody.
that was funny. That was a
was
funny
quite
line. But that's when this is just when the montage sequence happens of everyone in the hallway happens.
Yeah,
So you-
we've talked about it. We can move on.
Right, fine. Cool.
So yeah, they kind of do that, and then he's like, "Look, I'll call you later." So he's like, "I've got bigger, like 17-year-old high school things to deal with. I need to go and win this basketball game so I can go back to being Matthew Perry and actually be present at our divorce." It's like, shut up, Leslie. So then Zac Effron goes back to the basketball and he gets involved in the tryouts with the coach.
Same coach.
Yep, same coach from before. And again, he has this weird interaction with him where he's kind of being like,
Oh,
I can't believe you're still here.
Yeah.
Like, mate, just go and have some chill and remember that you're actually supposed to be 17 right now.
Yeah.
That this has just happened rather than just going up to people and being like, hi, friend. Hi, do you remember me? Also, why does this coach not recognize him?
I just...
Because
Right.
not only has this coach already taught him, right? But the coach is also got a photo of him in the fucking hallway.
Not only that, the coach will also remember him. Remember that arsehole that just chucked the ball and left the game in the middle of it? You'll always remember that cunt.
I was going to save this to the end, right? But the coach is the Charlie of this film because he's the only one that we see directly age. And twice he's like, listen, man, this is a big game for us. The whole thing's riding on your shoulders. You can do this. Right? Like, you can do this. Twice this guy fucks him over. But then the best part is, at the end, it comes up at the end, then you get a little post-credits sequence where we discover that Matthew Perry is starting his new job as the coach at the high school, which would imply that the previous coach lost his job. No. Because Matthew Perry through the game.
Listen, I don't want to burst your bubble here, but he does say, he's like, oh, you're still here? And then he's like, yeah, it's my last year, though. I'm retiring after this. So,
come on. I thought I was onto something there. But still, maybe he's just so wearied by this. He ruined his last game. Man, this guy.
Again, for the same reason, where he could just
He
no
could have
day
just
that.
waited. There was absolutely no time pressure on the situation.
So, I don't understand. See that the way that this is, with it being the same coach and stuff like that, just sets it up so perfectly for the coach to be
this character.
fairy god coach. Why isn't
Instead
it
of the mental old janitor.
instead of fairy god janitor? Like, why
Fairy
isn't
god
it
janitor.
not
Magic
Keeper of
Mop
the
Man.
shrine. The keeper of the shrine, Magic Mop Man.
especially the fairy god coach then passing over his legacy to Matthew
Yep.
Perry at the end of the fucking film. It would have been perfect.
Oh my god.
They had it right in front of them.
Jinky had
The bear
some-
was in front of them. The bear was right in front of them.
Do you think this guy had some kind of like personal gripe, which was like, do you think he talked it out of his script? Like he just refused to be. He was like, no, I don't think this makes sense or something.
Listen,
Basic
guys,
stuff.
I'm just not a spirit guide.
Guys, I can't do it. Like, it's a really deep personal thing. I'm not going to get into
too much
it,
responsibility.
but I can't play a spirit guide in a
I can't
Groundhog
play.
Day type teen adventure.
I cannot be known as Matthew Perry's spirit guide
I can't hack
on
it.
TV forever.
It's no in me. The game is not in me anymore.
So, yeah, basically, he does kind of well at the tryouts, and he's like, yeah, you should. No, I think he just, I don't know why. I think he must shoot a hoop.
Yeah, he does well.
I hate having to say this. I don't know if there's a better way to say this. Can I say something other than shoot a hoop?
basket.
Shoot a basket.
Did you say shut up? You just said immediately as soon as I said and helped you. You're like, shut up. I mean,
Shut up. I didn't. I was trying to say shoot.
It sounded like.
And then I think maybe I was trying to say shoot up into a basket or something.
Shut up.
I promise I was like, shut up. Not that time. How?
She'd own up to it if she
I
was.
fucking
I
would.
believe it, I believe it.
So yeah, he asked him to go to the tryouts anyway, and then at this point, Zac Effron goes to a bathroom, and then I guess he's just like. I think he's recounting. He's been like, right, here's the plan. I'm gonna go to the tryouts. I'm gonna get into the basketball team. I'm gonna win, and then everything will be okay again. I don't know why it would make it okay again. If he's gonna go back to Matthew Perry at this point, then like, how does that make everything okay again? That he's won a 17-year-old like high school
Well, I think the
basketball
idea is
game.
that he gets it, then would get the scholarship, and then it would maybe correct the course of his
Well, see,
life.
he would
Right,
just-
so he wakes up as Matthew Perry, but like,
But wealthy and successful. I think that's what he's thinking, and I'm glad that we didn't go that route because that
Yeah.
would have been very shite.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a wee bit better, but like, but the way that this film works, though, that wouldn't even make sense because he's not travelled back in time. He's just
Yeah.
17.
No,
in
you're
the
right.
film.
You're right.
Do you
He
know what I
has
mean?
to travel.
wait,
He's not
what
travelled
was
back
he
in time.
thinking was going
Like,
to
so
happen?
I'm gonna win a high school basketball game,
and then that was nice
and then-
for me.
Woo!
and then
like,
Comes back to Matthew Perry.
Either he thinks he's gonna go back.
devastating. that would be so funny if he works to break the curse, forgetting that the curse is that he gets to be young and hot at 17. And then he does it, he achieves his goal, he unsets the curse, and then he wakes up in his shite life again. That would be hilarious.
And exactly what he deserves as well.
Yes.
But it's either that, right? So it's either that he thinks that after that he'll turn back into Matthew Perry, or he thinks he's going to live out his entire life again.
I,
Do you know what I mean? Like, so he's going to win the basketball thing, he's going to get the scholarship, and then he's going to grow up again, being the same age as his kids, and then become Matthew Perry. Like, is he going to live to, like, what the fuck is
He
he
does
talking
actually
about? What's
decide
he
at one
thinking?
point, though, where after he ruins things at the party, his wee pal's like, why are you playing so much basketball, man? I feel like there's other things to worry about right now. And he's like, well, the thing with the kids and, bringing them back into my life hasn't really worked out. So I might as well just go to college?
Right. Can we get to the cafeteria scene?
We're limping there.
So we're limping it. Right.
We're not skipping over to the
the
cafeteria
bathroom.
scene because we get the bathroom where he finds his own son. So this is the first time he probably speaks to his son as a 17-year-old and becomes his pal. So like he just hears this little kind of whimpering voice like, anyone can help me out here? And he goes into this stall and his son is like duct taped to a toilet by Crackles, presumably. And he says, yeah, it's the basketball team, it's Crackles and his posse have duct taped me to this toilet. And then he's like talking to him and he's like, I thought you were cool. I thought that you were in the basketball team. And he's probably just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Why is he like...
That's when he makes up the lie, isn't it?
Why is he taking it upon himself to peer over the bathroom stall? Why has...
He didn't even know it was his son.
No. He, knowing that he as an adult man, had decided that it would be appropriate to climb on top of the toilet and just check out what was happening in the next stall. No.
She just went, hey, do you need some toilet paper? Oh, what's up? How can I do something? No.
Well, maybe, to be fair, maybe he recognises his son's voice. Maybe.
Okay.
Nobody else recognises anything about anyone in this film, so why would we assume that?
Yeah, fair.
So then they go to the school cafeteria.
Well, it's when they also very importantly establish. Importantly, I don't know why I'm saying that, but they establish nothing's important in this film. But they establish that's when the lie comes up, like, oh, I'm Ned's son.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I'm your cousin, so this is. And he's
yeah,
like,
your dad's
cool.
best pal's
I'm
son.
so unpopular.
So we're basically
I am so
family.
unpopular. I am so unpopular. I will take on this random creep as my pal, from the son's point of view.
What?
I'm saying the son is so unpopular
Oh, right. Okay,
that he immediately just, as soon as some guy comes in, some charmer comes in.
Alex is taking
be
on
fair-
Zac
Oh,
Efron.
sorry, it was confusing without the name.
If I was sitting with my arse,
sake.
if I was sitting with my arse duct taped to a toilet and someone cut me free, I would find it kind of difficult
then
not
be
to
like-
hang out with them afterwards. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
You can't just be like, right, well, this was fun. I'm going to sit by myself at lunch while I'll watch you also sitting by yourself at a table across from me, and we just know what's just happened, but we're not going to address it. I mean,
I don't
maybe.
care. I don't
yeah,
care.
I'm just.
We're in the cafeteria now, and can I just
Yeah.
say, all these extras, man, this is another fucking trope. All these extras look they're about 35, and it gets worse later at the party scene as well.
Oh, this party scene, it gets so much
But
worse.
they're just, it's very much like...
It establishes at this point as well, tropey, the kind of shite son is in love with the head cheerleader, because of course
Is
he
he?
is. Yeah. He fancies the head cheerleader. That's who that girl is. So he's like looking at her from across the room, and he's like, oh, and then he's like, oh, do you fancy her? And he's like, yeah, I fancy her. And then at this point, they like sit down at the table, they're chatting, and then he's like, he sees his daughter across the way, and she's like, just absolutely savagely getting off with Crackles, like basically lying across the table, like
Aye.
essentially dry humping each other
Yeah, and
in
he's
this
looking.
cafeteria.
He keeps watching as
And he
this guy like pulls his way in. It's
Yeah.
like, man, can you stop?
And he's like, that's gross. And then like wee Alex is like, don't stare at him, because then he'll start.
You know, he's right. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But also, can we just talk about everything that Crackles is doing in this scene is obscene, because he starts it when he comes in with the most boggy looking sandwich I've seen in my life. It's like it's soaking. So everything in this film are soaking inexplicably, apart from I don't know, something funny. But he's coming in with a sandwich. I know, I was building it. I thought there was a joke at the end of this, and there wasn't. I just left it. But he comes in with this boggin sandwich, it's dripping, and he's like, "Ha!" He's like, "Do they put that in anyone's mouth, mate? Get away!" And then he's looking. Doesn't he make eye contact with Zac Efron's character
Whilst he's winching his daughter.
So he's like, "I look, I'll pull your way in," and then he's given that whole. Well, when the confrontation happens and he takes his basketball, he's like, "Give me my ball back, bitch."
No, it's more like this. It's like, give me my ball back, bitch.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's just
Fucking
the way he says
piping.
it. It's so ridiculous. But before that, he's like, he sees that Matty Perry, or Zac Efron at this point, is looking at him, and he goes, "Hey, twinkle douche,"
Oh, yeah.
which is shocking.
No one has ever talked like this.
And
no
then
one's ever spoke
at
this much
point,
about this film before.
Zac takes his ball, right, and he's like, starts confronting him in front of everyone. He's like, just coming out with shite patter, like, oh,
Spinning
he's
the
just like
ball.
a wee lassie. Like, as if that's like a good way to insult
Well,
someone.
he's just
like,
boying him, but I've got here. He's boying him to the weirdest Jester theme tune I've ever heard in my life. It's like, it's like, what the fuck are we doing with this music choice? And then, but
It's
apparently,
like stock music that you would find on
Yes.
like Windows Movie Maker 7.
it's like it's always sunny music. But yeah, that apparently weird fact, shite fact. Zac Efron is actually spinning the ball the whole time through that scene.
yeah.
Great.
Great,
Well,
right?
you would think after all that High School Musical stuff, if he couldn't at this point, it would be a bit shocking.
I just find it weird in the fact when they're like, yeah, it's not CGI, it's actually him spinning it.
Well,
Aye.
The thing
Maybe a
is,
few
though,
takes.
it's superimposed Zach's head on a fucking
The Michael
stunt
Jordan.
actor.
this is
Imagine
reinforced.
hiring an entire stunt actor just for a boy to spin a basketball
That
on his
would be
We will
finger.
get to that with Steven Seagal films, which we'll do at some point,
Okay.
because he hires people to do anything physical, including going upstairs.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's reinforced my hatred of Mike O'Donnell because at first he's trying to defend his son. He's like, this guy's picking on my son. You can't speak to him like that. And then immediately it becomes for him.
Yeah.
He's just showing off.
Yeah.
There is absolutely, he's diffused the situation with the son. Okay, fair enough. Now he's just showing off.
Yep.
Now he's just trying to act like the big guy. And I'll just lose all, like if there was a tiny bit of me that was like, oh, he's sticking up for his son. That's nice. I'm just like, this is so for you. And then the other problem, and again, I don't think we shouldn't have Zac Efron in this film. I think it makes it vaguely viewable. But the problem with having Zac Efron in this film is that, unfortunately, he is going to have a bit of sexual chemistry with basically everyone.
Yeah.
Like, when he gets right up in the guy's face and he's like, don't hurt yourself, big boy, and they're looking at each other in the eye, you're like, this feels like he's kind of coming on to this guy
Kiss him.
a little bit. But it's wrong because you're meant to be like old enough to be his dad, and you know there's all this vibe. But I'm like, but in reality, this is Zac Efron and another human being, so there is going to be a level of sexual chemistry that is difficult to diffuse, and that just keeps happening throughout this film. Every single person he speaks to, I'm like, yep. Unfortunately, there was a bit of sexual chemistry there.
That is an excellent take. That is one of the biggest issues of this film, and it just makes, you're right, Zach is a blessing and a curse in this
Yeah.
because he is just gonna have like total res with everybody. He speaks to.
Everyone.
He is trying so hard not to have res as well, and he just can't because he's Zac Efron.
Yeah, he can't,
also-
he can't help but flirt with his daughter. Yeah, okay.
There's a level of earnestness to this where, like, you know, when you're doing I always say this, we've all been in student projects before. You know, when you're doing something that everyone knows is kind of terrible, but there's one person who really, really believes in it and has not given up yet and is really trying their best. Zac Efron is that to this film.
Yeah, I guess.
So, now we're like,
He goes home and we get asked, what did you learn at school today?
oh yeah,
And then I've written that I'm a bad dad.
I'm a bad dad. Yeah.
Because that's all he fucking
And then
learns.
he's like, I watched my daughter get a tongue bath.
That's a very visceral, disgusting image.
And then I don't know what point he says this, but I think this was quite funny, is that when he's talking to his pal Ned, he's like, I think Ned must say something cringy or something that just doesn't make any sense. And again, Zach kind of feels like he's not saying a line here, he's actually just out of character, and he's just like, what are you talking about? Like in a way that we would say sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you also get another trope here as well when he's making all the food.
Yeah, and then he just leaves it all.
He has
just
two
leaves the
bites and he goes,
house.
all right, gotta go. And it's like, fuck off.
He's spraying the cheese in his mouth. It's just all too much.
It's just minging
But
it.
he lays out his plan here as well. He's like, I'm going to get my son on the basketball team. This is going to fix everything. And I was like, only a guy who peaked in high school would think that in order to fix his children's life, you know, child of divorce, father has clearly not paid him much attention throughout his entire life. Instead of being like, I'm going to build up his self-worth, I'm going to really, you know, instill some self-esteem in him, spend some good father-son bonding time. No, he's like, I'm going to get him on the basketball team. And that is going to solve all of my problems,
Yeah.
all of his problems.
Yeah.
That is completely the logic of a guy who peaked in high school.
Yeah, totally. And his whole thing is now is, I don't need to play basketball, which was clearly kind of being set up in a really shy way, but kind of being set up. It's, I need to help my children. Okay.
Do you know, as well, by the end of it, it doesn't even disprove that. He never even learns from it. He's not like, oh shit, my
He's
son
not helped his daughter.
my son never had to be good at basketball.
Getting right
He
on that.
just had to, like, be good for himself. And I just had to be a good dad to him. He still is good at basketball at the end. And then, so his solution is get my son on the basketball team and keep my daughter a virgin for as long as possible.
Yeah.
That's his solution to his curse.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is fucking shocking.
That's what he achieves.
Yeah, because like
Make my ex-wife, who clearly would have been better off without me, look at what she's managed to achieve in the short time that we've been apart. Look how much she's grown as a person. Get her to take me back. Like, what does this film accomplish?
So,
fucking pish.
speaking of virginity, we move to the classroom scene in which the teacher is teaching sex ed. Because
Oh
of
my
course she
God.
is.
Yeah, of course.
And
This is when he
the
hits it with his
teacher-
big Jonas Brothers speech, isn't it?
Wait. I'm sorry. We've skipped over the most obscene thing that happens in this entire film. Oh, no, hang on, not the daughter stuff. The daughter stuff's more obscene than this.
Okay.
I take it back.
Is he alright?
He says the most obscene line that is
Okay.
uttered in this film
Okay.
because we get a scene where he
Wait a
goes
minute.
back to the house, he's teaching the son how to play basketball, and then the mum shows up, she's grabbing his face, which is, despite the fact he looks like the husband
aye.
is not
Yeah.
okay. The friend's like, she's got a date set up, and then he's like, excuse me, how dare you discuss going on a date?
no, listen, I was getting to this. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just-
It's all going to be the same quote.
I think we're talking about the
we
same
were
quote.
clearly talking about this.
The Afghanistan quote.
He says, in response to the idea that his wife, who they've been separated for a year at this point, if this were Afghanistan, she'd be dragged through the streets by goats with her hands cut off.
Just saying.
Because she's going on a date.
And this is in him saying it's inappropriate for her friend to be discussing the fact she's going on a date in front of her son. Mate, it's inappropriate for you to say that about his mother in front of him.
Who you've just
Or
met.
women at all.
It's inappropriate to say all of that in
It's just-
any context.
The
There is
whole
no
film is
context.
inappropriate.
There is no context where that would be appropriate.
No.
That, like, any of it. It's
Want
fucking
this guy to
shocking.
win.
Yeah, I want him to die. I want him to drown in the river as the old shrine master's like,
See if he learned from any of this, they'd be fine, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Really?
It just gets worse.
So, do you know, man, you're changing my mind as we're going through it. I'm hating it more and more just going through it because I think I've just been watching it like, and now I'm watching it like, fuck,
God,
aye,
yeah.
No, honestly, it's right. The more I talk about this film, the lower down in my ratings it goes.
Yeah.
But right, can we just so anyway, he's in the classroom, sex ed. He gives
Yeah,
his fucking
so-
Jonas Brothers speech to the class, and everyone's like, "Woo!"
He's just like,
Yeah.
abstinence. So you got your girlfriend knocked up in high school.
I know, and it's so creepy as well because like he starts going on about his daughter and what it's like to hold a baby in your hands, and everyone else in the class must be like, "What the fuck are you
Is
talking
this
about?
guy talking about?
You're a 17-year-old guy," and like the daughter again is giving him like with the weird eyes throughout the
Daughter
entire
in question is turned on
Mm-hmm.
by the fact that he is a good dad to her.
Yeah, and you know what's even worse? We do not actually even resolve anything with the daughter's feelings or what's happened with her.
No.
She just gets dropped.
She just gets dropped. She just at some point, oh my God, could you imagine family dinners where she's just like, I'm sorry, I'm not over fucking, what was his fake name? I don't know, something Gold. And our dad's sitting there and our mum's sitting there and they all know that it's him she's talking about.
And just to really upset us all, here's a terrible quote from that scene. Teenagers not having sex is like getting a porcupine to poop goat cheese.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this whole film, man. Everything, just the face that she makes in response, she goes, ugh, right? Yes. Ugh, to all of this film. Just, oh man.
Yeah,
So
fucking sucks. Not to give away
Jesus,
our
I just
ratings.
fucking
At this point, I've just
snorted
written, I can't cope. I actually can't cope. And it actually just gets so much worse from here.
Yeah.
And then
God.
all the students rather agree. They're like, yeah, we should be abstinent after his wee Jonas Brothers speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then Crackles decides he's going to take all the condoms and he
That was kind of funny.
and he looks at Maggie and he's like, oh, this will last us the weekend or
I've
something
got enough
like
for the
that.
whole weekend.
Yeah, and then
Which is fine. He's a teenage boy that wants to have sex with his girlfriend. He's behaving
Well,
like
no, it's not okay. It's not okay. We're not giving Crackles.
No, we're not
any,
giving.
we're not giving Crackles
in
lenience.
comparison to what Zac Efron has just done, gone on this whole speech, and then he's like, "This guy's out
Crackles
of
goes
pocket."
on to dump Maggie because she won't fuck him.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean,
No lenience for
at
Crackles.
this moment, a teenage boy grabbing a bunch of condoms, being like, "Oh, for us." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that.
it's okay.
That is not out of place in a classroom.
What is
like,
out of place is her dad, who's not her dad at this moment because he's 17, but is still her dad, getting up and just taking it upon himself to punch him and start a scrap, which he loses. And then this takes us to the point where they go back to the principal's office. I don't even want to kind of stay on wee Leary for too long, fucking Ned, because he just makes me cringe out.
But
his peacocking is kind of funny.
I unfortunately drew a comparison when he's sitting there and he's like, to the untrained eye, I look like a total idiot. And like everyone's like, yeah, you do actually. It just reminded me of the conversation we had about your big red necklace.
You mean my balet?
For context, Swanny has a necklace, which I wish you were wearing under your t-shirt right
You've
now.
lost it, haven't you?
It's
Oh, thank fuck.
it's
It's
somewhere.
like this big.
It's somewhere.
It's
and
like a
it
big.
will-
It's like a big
Boil.
plastic boiled tumor looking thing on a black
It's a
rope,
balet.
and it's like not only that, but it's from some fucking anime thing.
It's from
The
something.
only anime I've ever watched. And it was very good.
Swanny was like,
Lie.
I could wear this
It's not
to the
true.
club and still pull. And when he
I
said,
didn't say that. Did I?
yes, she
Yes.
did. She said. We were both there.
we were
I was trying to be
thinking
funny.
up this podcast.
I was trying to be funny. I was
I
trying
love
to
how
be
we
witty.
both got like timestamps for this exact moment.
I hate this.
But
I hate
this
that you
is him.
timestamp my
This
pish.
is him being like, I'm actually peacocking to the untrained eye. I look like a total idiot. And then he's like, yeah, that was us sitting with Swanny as he explained
Aye, you
the
do.
necklace to us. Sorry, that was all I wanted to say
The
about
balet,
this.
the necklace, is actually a nice bit of modern art.
So what's so funny about this bit as well, like that me and Swanny really had a laugh at, is that he's sitting outside of the like principal's teacher's office waiting to be called in to be given a bollocking. And these kids that are sitting like across, like on the other side of the door, are like looking at their phones and they're like, hey, check this video out. My cousin sent it to me from New York, right? And it's presumably the fight that Zac Efron's having. Why did his cousin in New York have to send him a video for something that happened in his school?
Yeah, like 3 classrooms down. He's like, oh my god, he sent from
That
New York.
happened like 5 minutes
We're
beforehand.
just trying
Why?
to show, it's gone viral.
Also,
Viral?
nothing
Viral.
funny happened. It was just a fight
Yeah.
between two
Well,
guys.
I mean, it is 2006. I guess that was popular.
Yeah.
Fair.
So,
Having been a young boy at that time, we like to watch fight videos.
aye.
Yay.
So then we have sorry, my dad's peacocking.
Aye,
which
sorry,
is,
my dad's peacocking again. Fuck me.
that's just shocking. He's like just leering at Jan Levinson again, and it's like really cringe. And I can't get into this part of the film at all. Like, there's other parts where I just can mindlessly watch, but every time Ned's doing anything with Jan, I'm just like,
No. It's
Like, I can
disgusting.
see where
It's
the joke
unbearable,
is.
But it's not funny.
It's just not that funny. And it maybe
it's
goes
just
on
like
little
a
too
comic
long.
relief in a comedy film that's already trying too much.
It's also, it feels like the Big Bang Theory writing.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, here's a bunch
So
of
right.
references without making
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, you know, like the Star Trek when they got the lightsabers and then
Yeah.
they went to Mordor. Like, okay, yeah.
Right, that's not how any of that works.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
do you
Good
know what would have been
one.
funny, for example? Imagine they spoke in that Elvis language, but she knew it better than him, and he was actually saying things that were kind of insulting, and then she was correcting them, and he was getting them. That's at least a joke
Yeah.
or something, instead of just whatever the fuck we
The only
watched.
part I like
The joke
about,
is you're watching this. Ha. The joke's on you.
the only part that I like through their chat is when she corrects them with the Lord of the Rings chat.
Yeah, well, exactly what I just said. There
Yeah,
you go.
play on that a wee bit more.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
anyway,
Yeah, that he's not as big a geek as he thinks he is, and then that's him getting buoyed. But that'd have been something.
so then he basically, I don't know how we get to this point, but he goes and sees Scarlett again, his wife, who he calls Scar, and she's like,
Don't call me
don't
that.
call me Scar, that's my ex-husband calls me that. And then we get into a montage of him teaching Alex, his son, how to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, he's around at his own house a lot. So it's this montage where he's like using a megaphone to like get him to shoot some hoops.
It's like
I can't believe
air
the amount of
horn.
times I've said shoot some hoops in this fucking podcast. I cringe every time I say it, man.
I don't know why I'm looking at you as if you're. I mean, out of the three of us, you're probably the most likely to know. But is this air horn in the face technique a basketball training technique, or is this just stupid?
That's what I said. Like, Zach teaches his son basketball by blaring a horn at him. That does nothing. And then it's just going to trigger him to
I think
everybody
it's
use
just-
horns.
Does that happen? And is it because people
I've
play the
never seen it.
vuvuzelas?
I think it's
at
just
games and it's distracting?
No,
Abby.
that's definitely
trying to
not
get
why.
it.
Vuvuzelas
think
came
it's
out
like-
after this. That was
Yeah, but
that was
things made
I
noise
think it's
before
like
then.
reaction time. I think it's just like pressure, reaction time. What are you gonna do when things get difficult? like, oh, I'm shouting in your face.
What are you gonna do?
right now.
Yeah.
So
Fuck this film.
they have this montage, and then you've got like him like having moments with the mum, who's his wife, like soon to be ex-wife, and then him like watching his daughter getting tongue baths, as he's put it, on various parts of the house, and him putting a stop to it. He, like puts the fire alarm on, and he sprays him with a hose, and
Totally. But then he keeps saying things to her to like try and encourage her in a fatherly way. But like, why
no,
is
that's
the
why. This is just like a music montage.
Surely he has got to understand that
So
from her perspective, she has no context.
Yeah.
What does
I'm
he
just talking
think
generally.
she is going to
Yes,
take
yeah,
from this?
yes.
Like a little bit of critical
Yeah,
thinking
so
here,
like,
Zach.
why is the movie making him like his ideal lover, her ideal lover?
Yeah.
And also, but why is he doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, surely he would stop and think, man, this girl with very little self-esteem and a shite boyfriend, I'm going to show her loads of care and attention, that she is like the most amazing person in the world. Does he not stop to think that that might have some kind of repercussion of some kind, or be incredibly confusing for her? And just, sorry,
So
the montage ends.
the montage ends, and the Ma has made her stunning garden. Yeah.
She has made her stunning garden, but there's a really funny shot, because see when it's like a shot of them standing looking at the garden wide, right? It looks beautiful. It's so nice. Would love to have a garden like that, because wow, what you've done here is really amazing. It cuts to like a whip pan of this garden, right? But there's it's so big and there's so much stuff and so many lights that like it looks amazing. And then when you see that, then he's like, wow, this is great. It looks chaotic. It looks like a mess. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah,
all
there's
these
too much
lights.
stuff.
There's too much
Bad,
stuff going
yeah.
on. It makes it look as if it's like a joke, like it was bad.
Yeah, well, she finishes her shite Minecraft garden, and we're just like, yeah, well, fucking done. At least we've got an arc. At least there's something tangible in the film.
All we've proven so far with this beautiful garden is that she is better off
Without him.
Yeah,
100%.
She's doing good things
Yeah.
without him.
Yeah.
But like honestly, the interior like world of all these characters is fucking insane, because she's like now like as she's talking away with him and he's like going, oh, your garden's amazing, you're so good. Like she must be thinking, oh, am I going to shag a 17-year-old Zac Effron here? Maybe.
Yeah, because they've had all this sexual tension in
And like,
this little montage.
it's not that she's not noticed it.
And then this culminates in the next scene where she's like all dressed up, and she's like, I'm actually going on a date tonight. And he's like, a date? What the fuck? Why are you doing that? And she's like, oh, I'm just going dancing. Like, oh, I can't dance. And he was like, you're a great dancer. Again,
says,
forgetting these.
You just look like you can move. That's
Again, what is she thinking?
what is she thinking?
And she encourages it.
Yeah,
she
no,
then dances with
she
them.
She has to
with
say
him.
to her
She's a
son,
lady
look,
pedo.
don't
They have-
bring him round anymore because he's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
So I've just put, she's encouraging this too much. Is everyone a big pedo? Even her?
And then he's like, so you mentioned your husband. It's like, he's got no chill with her. I
No, at
can't
all.
even.
And then he plays their first dance song to dance to as
Of
well.
course he does. I didn't even know he did that.
At this point also, why is she not, like, surely the question would have been raised. This boy looks, acts, sounds exactly like my ex-husband. I don't believe in magic or weird janitor spirit guides, so surely the natural suspicion would be, does my husband have a secret love child?
Oh.
Why has that not come up?
Yeah.
You look exactly like my ex-husband, know a lot about him, and sound like him, and are clearly too young
Have
to
similar
be him.
mannerisms.
And we've had issues in our marriage for years. Does it all spawn from this? No,
My
of course not,
God.
because she's
She
too
doesn't
busy
even-
thinking about shagging a 17-year-old Zac Efron.
Maybe she has thought. Maybe she doesn't care.
Oh man, she's like, I'm here
You're
for
no
the,
my
I'm
son.
here for the literal ride. Oh.
So then they have this like erotic dance together, and they almost kiss while he's like holding her, like cradling her, kind of. And then the son walks in, Alex, and then it's just a really funny line she comes out with. It's like really just illy placed, I think, where she just kind of is still looking at Zac Effron and goes, "I'm your mom." When she's talking to Alex.
Fucking Jada Plinkett over here, man.
And then the son doesn't really react to it. He was just kind of like, "Do you do this with all your pals' mums?"
And he's like, yeah.
Yep.
But also I'm like, yeah, nice fatherly moment. Your son, who has no friends and is horrifically bullied, has finally made a pal, and the pals come onto his mum. Like, you
Moving on.
So then the date comes to the door. Zac is incredibly rude to him. It's like, "Carnations, what a douche." And then this bit is kind of funny where she's like, where he's like, "Oh
This
no,
is
I
good,
can
actually. I love
totally
this.
understand it. You know, like having a teenage son, he feels like he's the man of the house, doesn't want someone coming in and like encroaching on that. I totally get it." And she's like, "That's not my son." And he's like, "Well, yeah, that's weird then."
Weird, yeah. Oh.
He's another saving grace of the film. This guy's not done anything wrong. He's just
Oh, I know, but
he could give Leslie Mann a lovely life.
before she leaves, though, she then runs over to Zac and goes, "Oh, boy, I just met, like,
Oh, yeah, of
today.
course.
Here are my divorce papers to give to your dad's pal, who's my ex-husband, who you'll somehow see first." Stupid.
So he gets.
To be fair, she can't find him. Like,
He receives,
Fair, the bearer's right in front of her. Fair enough.
he receives his own divorce papers then at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, why do they end up here? They go to a birthday party. What was the
oh, right. So they're at the bowling alley.
Yeah, the bowling alley
Because,
birthday party
that
for
was it. So
17-year-olds.
he sees the girl getting in the car with Stan. So he's like, "Alex, we're going to go watch your girlfriend." Sister. Not that it fucking matters in this film, apparently. We're going to go watch your sister make out with her boyfriend a bit more because apparently I need to be present for that at all times. But why is everyone so horny at the bowling alley? Like,
You've never been to a bowling alley?
Remember Swanny at the bowling
like
alley?
this girl comes up
What
to
do you mean? Remember me at the bowling
Greeting
alley?
into your wee strawberry cocktail.
I was sad. I just been broken up with. I was allowed to be sad that day. I was hungover as well.
I had
not
to be
just
broken
crying
up
in the
with.
bowling
Yeah,
alley.
but you didn't like that person.
Crying at the bar inside the Italian restaurant inside the bowling alley.
Yeah, it wasn't even the bowling alley, it was the restaurant inside it.
You bought a cocktail, started greeting, and then
Our pal-
went, "Can you pay for that?"
Our pal Nathan saying, going, "Oh, I love this place. Used to come here all the time when I was a kid." And I'm just like, "Oh, fucking go."
Shout out to Nathan, speaking of him, by the way, because
out to his family.
he messaged me. Shut up. He messaged us today and told me that he had a High School Musical and 17 Again marathon on 420 one year, which is hilarious.
Aw.
So he loves 17 Again, so he'll hate this episode.
Yeah, he's not going to be. He's going to message us about this so much.
So they go to the bowling alley. Zac's a cunt at the bowling alley.
Yeah,
but this is a fucking arsehole.
This girl comes up to him, right? And I wrote down, this is so unrealistic. No one would ever do this. And then I remembered it had happened to Swanny. And if Swanny told this story and I wasn't there to witness it, I wouldn't believe it. This girl comes up to Zac Effron and she's like, "I actually got kicked off the cheerleading squad for being too flexible." And I was like, rotten, unrealistic line.
When did that happen to me?
Me and Swanny walked into Tingle after the Drama Society Christmas dinner. We had just arrived and a girl walks up to Swanny, a random girl, and goes, "I'm a dancer," throws her leg in the air and catches it with her hand and just like leans on him. And Swanny was in a relationship at the time. He was just like, "I can't do anything about this. Oh my God, what is happening?" And I was just like watching this and I was like, "This isn't real."
She spawned from 17 Again.
I think I actually blocked that memory out because I was too sad that I couldn't do anything about it. Fuck's sake. Thank you for that. Another one that got away. Oh, I hated that. This film is bringing out all the worst.
What the fuck was that?
I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to be amusing.
Sorry for everyone listening on the Spotify version of this. Swanny just did the most mortifying thing anyone's ever done.
I did a double grasp for the woman leaving. Oh, why did I explain it?
Go and watch it. It needs to be
Go and
viewed.
watch it.
So He then goes up to these girls as well. I think the flexible girls, one of these, and says, if you girls don't respect yourselves, no one else will respect you.
Honestly, he's coming across as the most.
Fuck this guy.
Ick.
Yeah,
Ick.
yeah.
There's nothing that annoys me more than a man telling me that I am not respecting myself. Or that I haven't got enough respect for myself. Or how's he meant to respect me if I don't respect myself? I'm just,
You're honestly coming across
Makes me
as
so angry.
the most fucking red-pilled incel influencer, but without the internet, without social media, and no one's liking him.
But also, again, he's still, what, a 35
Four,
year old man.
whatever the fuck, who cares?
But
He's
as
old.
well as this,
Or-
he's kind of like, oh, I can't be here because I will whinge one of them. That's the vibe that he's giving off.
He goes, this is some other dad's problem. Out loud.
Oh man! Oh, I know that Zac Effron cringed at that line like 7 times before they got the right take.
This
for
is
it.
why this film is why Zac Effron has not yet had children. Just ruined the concept of it for the man.
So again, what's this part's fairly funny for what this film is this the son talking to the cheerleader girl and like says that she looks like his dead Doug.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah, okay.
4.
And then he catches on fire, literally, and then you have that like American tropey thing where they're like, "Oh, you're on fire," and he's like, "Really?" And he's like, "No, you're really on fire."
As someone who's been on, like, I set my
Someone's been on fire.
Yeah, I set my hand on fire briefly once, and I did exactly what he did. I panicked. I ran through to the bathroom. I was carrying a bit of paper in, it caught on fire, and I just was like, "Fuck!" And like my head, I was like, "I'll just go throw this bit of paper in the toilet." But in the time it took me to like literally walk across the hallway, it had burned my hand like really badly.
burnt away.
Like the skin of my thumb fell off. So I'm just like watching the rest of this film being like, he would be in hospital. This would be it for wee Mike or whatever his name is. I can't remember. Alex. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna, shuffle off to the bathroom trying to maintain my composure. I'm like, no, your leg's just been burned off.
Yeah.
You're not playing basketball in the final scene.
Ever.
You're in hospital. You're getting skin grafts, mate. This is ridiculous. Like, he just kind of like limps off as if like,
Oh,
what?
yeah, that's fine.
And then the dad's just like,
Before
I'm going to continue flirting with your sister. You have fun dealing with your first degree burns on your leg.
And then just
it goes his entire leg.
Before this, I just want to cover something very briefly. There's boys in a case.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I want to investigate this production designer.
Boys
What
in a
the
glass
fuck is
case.
going on? All these kids
What
are
in the
getting
St.
raffled
Trinians?
on.
Like, what is happening?
What in St. Trinians? That was good.
Yeah, it's just like, did the American, like, I don't, did this happen in America? Did people
No.
duct tape people's bums to toilets and lock people in bowling alley trophy cases? Why have none of the staff at this establishment questioned why there are 1,000 teenagers throwing themselves at each other
Honestly.
at the bowling alley on like a Wednesday night? And there's like just
Did
this
you never go to
big
the bowling alley and lynch
chunk
people?
of a guy just like locking wings in a trophy cabinet and no one's doing anything
Yeah,
about
as I
it.
said.
We move on. Zach goes to the daughter. I'm just gonna glide past this because I want to get out the bowling alley.
Yeah.
I
really
want to
badly.
get out of this movie. Please go.
Zach rants to his daughter about not throwing away her future. She's saying that she's gonna, instead of going to uni, she's gonna go to like a college course so that she could be closer to Crackles.
Because he's her forever.
Because he's her forever.
Again, this film.
And
thinks
then
women are
he's like,
pathetic.
I'm not gonna let you do that. And she's like, very kind of fair enough. It's like, who the fuck are you, my dad? Even though he is.
Ba-dum-tsh.
And then she leaves. So then we're back to basketball.
Yeah, like why? And the wife shows up.
And the wife shows up with her date. So their second
this-
date is at a basketball game for her son.
Right. And the guy's like, you look nervous. And she's like, yeah, the last time I was here, my husband proposed to me. Lie, man. Say anything else.
Also, that's a lie. She's definitely been there since. No, she won't have because her son's not in the basketball team yet. No, you're right.
But like,
Just say anything else.
say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a wee bit tired, or I'm really nervous, it's my son's first basketball game. Anything would have been better than, yeah, the last time I was here, my husband proposed to me. This guy, I would leave. I would be like, do you know what? You're nice looking. This is a bit much. You're probably not worth the hassle. I'm going to bounce.
Then you've got Ned and the head teacher. Do they meet at this as well?
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
knows. Yeah,
Don't care.
oh yeah, because she's trying to be like, I don't date
No, that's
people-
actually in a future
Oh, I don't
basketball
care.
scene.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Right, next page.
Basically, Zac Efron's son shoots the winning basket.
Yeah, because Zach gives them the ball and he
Because
does
Zach
it.
gives him the ball, and this coach is like, "Don't do that," but then he shoots the winning basket, and then like the cheerleader girl that he fancies, she's like, "Well done, man! Like, good job!" And then they have like an awkward hug and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's
like
got
that.
no riz there yet.
No riz. I've just wrote, "I'm sweaty, nay riz" here.
Yeah,
I'm sweating.
I'm sweating no riz. That's brilliant. So that tattooed. But yeah, then we check in with, sorry, my dad's on the register again. And we see Ned just fucking doing something horrible. I don't know what he did
He
here.
basically just kind of coerces her a date just so he'll leave her alone. So they go on a date, and then Zach and his son are like talking, and he's like, "Oh, I wish I'd kissed that girl." And then he's like, "I'm gonna make sure that happens." And he's like, "How?" And then he sees Ned getting into the car with Jan Levinson, and then he's like, "Oh, party in my place!"
Because that's
woo!"
so appropriate
So-
for a 35-year-old man.
Yeah, he's making his daughter fancy him, and he's like, "Oh no, don't fancy me, haha."
So
Oh yeah, and then we go.
Zach's having a gaff, and then
No, wait. We've got the scene where he invites the daughter to the gaff first. It's the first time that.
yeah, no, I know. We get to that
okay.
first. So he goes to this like weird, like little kind of outdoor auditorium bit, and she's sitting by herself greeting
Yeah.
his daughter. And he's like, "Why are you crying? What's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, it's just like Stan like wanted me to have sex with him." And he's like, "Oh no, you didn't, did you? You didn't." She's like, "No, I didn't, and that's why he dumped me. He dumped me because I wouldn't fuck him."
Again, the sexual tension between two human beings,
Oh, it's-
as in Zac Efron and Michelle Trachtenberg. I don't know, but like there obviously is a level of chemistry between the two of them as people who are not these characters that makes like any kind of like earnestness in terms of, even if it wasn't written into the script that she starts to fancy him here, like it's just, there's so much.
Yeah.
He has more chemistry with her in this scene than he does with anyone else in the film,
Question.
and that's a problem.
Basically just gives her a kind of a speech, and then she's like, it's just like, you're gonna do great things and you're like a really good girl and stuff like that. And basically she completely falls in love with him at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her own dad.
Yeah.
Like all Zac Efron manages to achieve is he just traumatizes his children further.
Yeah.
Like he's been a shite dad their whole lives. He traumatizes them, and then I guess the only person that's given them any sense of self-worth, this weird guy who is just disappears into thin air. How are the children bettered in any way by this situation?
They're not.
And their mum, who's starting to finally get her life together, is
They're not.
sucked
Back
back
with
into
Matthew
this.
Perry.
They're not,
Shit
because
marriage.
as shown by the writers, just giving up on the daughter's plotline altogether.
So, here we go with the party, because the daughter's just tried to winch her dad, and then he's kind of went,
Yeah.
no. So he's stopping that from
Yeah,
happening.
he's-
So
yeah, as I
again,
said-
as well, he's aware that he's making his daughter fall in love
Yes.
with him as well. He's totally aware
Yes.
of it in film.
That's
He
what
knows that's what's
Totally.
happening.
That's why I said, like as I said, oh no, don't fancy me, As he says, fucking getting her to fancy him more than anyone she's ever fancied her. Like, 'cause she's 17.
He says you should date someone who thinks the sun rises and sets with you.
Like I do. Basically.
Aye.
Oh, I'm getting so annoyed.
So,
We're so
Zach
close to
has
the
a
end.
party. It's full of 30-year-old fucking extras,
Yeah,
like
even
literally,
more.
like balding guys, literally like balding guys and guys in like
He's just
fucking.
invited his actual pals round. He's just phoned up the guys from the Viagra office and it's been like
Like
listen guys,
sales guys.
listen guys, I know I left things on bad terms. I burned a few bridges. If I invited you not
to
very
a party full of 17-year-olds.
Would that get me a
Would
raise?
that-
And
would
then they all
that
show
mean
up like,
things?
yeah, man.
For a party full of 17-year-old cheerleaders, which is like to come.
God.
So, Zach's fake dad goes on a date. They kind of cut to that. They're at this weird restaurant and he's like sniffing wine. Swanny found this hilarious for some reason when he's like sniffing the wine and like pretending he knows what he's talking
No,
about.
he does it really long. He goes, yes. Something like that. It was kind of funny.
And then at this
Give us
point,
flowers.
he's like, "Look, I'm just not like I'm not a cool guy. I'm not sexy. I'm just pretending for you. I'm actually a loser. And then she was like, yeah, I kind of gathered that.
It's the principal and Ned, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the restaurant. And then he was like, oh, like, you better explain this because I'm not going to be able to explain some Lord of the Rings bullshit.
Were they actually speaking Elvish?
I don't speak Elvish. So.
Like, the
I don't know whether to be
possibility was
relieved or
high.
disappointed.
Let's just say, yeah.
No, I mean the Lord of the Rings point.
Well, what about it?
You know what the thing that she corrects him on?
I forget what it was.
Something about Gandalf the White and
Oh,
Gandalf.
it's
yeah,
Gandalf something.
Yeah. So something about Gandalf the White, and it's actually Gandalf the Grey.
She
'cause it's
corrects
in
him,
the
and then
Fellowship.
he realizes, oh, she's a nerd like me.
Yeah.
And then,
But also, it's
I also corrected them at the same time because I suck.
But the thing is, I've seen the Lord of the Rings films once, and like I'm not a huge fan. And also, I've seen them like over the span for like 2 years, and I got
few
that
months.
that was wrong.
Yeah,
It's a very obvious statement.
is it?
Yeah, because he comes back and then he's Gandalf the White.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
Like it's one of the it's basically like being like, oh, and then Voldemort was actually Tom Riddle. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like
Right,
a
it's not like a
it's like if he
secret
was a Lord of the Rings
underground fact about
if he was a
someone.
Lord
Big
of the
Theory joke.
yeah,
basically.
if he
It's a
was a
Big
Lord of
Bang
the Rings fan at all, that would have just been so obvious to him.
Yeah.
I just,
Okay, so we go back to the party. Now we have pardon me, we have Zac's daughter desperately trying to shag him.
After he also threatened to phone the cops on his own party because Stan was having a drink of alcohol.
Fucking sucks, man.
Just
I thought it was just because
sucks.
Zac showed up. I thought it was just phoning him to get him escorted
No,
off.
it's like, listen, Crackles, that looks like
Get him a gap.
that looks like a hard seltzer you've got in your red Solo cup. I'm going to phone the police, not on this party of teenagers.
And adults.
I'm going to phone the police and ask them to remove
I'm telling the
you,
police on you.
one individual, because you have had a drink at my party full of
Aye.
underagers.
Aye.
So then he basically kind of the daughter's coming on to him. He's rejecting her advances.
She's
no, sorry. Crackles knocks Zac out.
Again.
Then yeah, again. And then he wakes up in his I don't know, in a bedroom, and then the daughter's giving him like a head massage or something, and then she starts coming on to him, and then he rejects her advances, and it's just like, look, I can't. And then she's like, all right, okay, I get it, you're like really nice guy, you're gay, and he's like, I'm not gay, and then I think she says like you're confused or something.
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
he's
He's like,
gaslit her so
"Yes,
much
I'm
that she becomes
confused."
homophobic.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be confused, man. That's your daughter. Confusion should be the last thing running through your mind. Disgust, perhaps. Fear, maybe.
Regret.
And she's like, oh, are you confused? And he's like, yeah.
The worst thing you can say. And
it
then he just basically pans off and says he has another girlfriend, and then she's like, well, if I ever see her, I'm gonna batter her. It's the
Tell me,
sentiment.
He is more horrified by the suggestion that she thinks he's gay than by the suggestion that she thinks he's into her.
Yeah.
She's like, are you gay? And he's like, what? No, I'm not gay. I'm like, man, like, your daughter is trying to have sex with you. And she has gone, wait, have I got this all mixed up? Is there a answer to all of this, which means that you care about me a lot as a person because you're really nice, and it doesn't take away from any of the things you've done to build up my confidence, but means that there is absolutely nothing sexual happening between us. Is that a correct approximation of the situation? And he goes, what? No, I'm not gay. Just say yeah. What does he think that she's going to ruin his rep? Can't do it with any of her
Yes,
pals?
I'm gay.
Yeah.
And then she will leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But no, now let's enjoy another 3 minutes of the film where she's like, I'm gonna get your
She's trying
girlfriend.
to bite him.
And she's like, I'm gonna purr like a kitty. And I'm like, no, I
was
can't.
That was a
So-
good bite, by the way.
It was a good bite.
I'm gonna say nothing.
Aye.
You forgot that she also pretends to be like a gazelle and he's a wounded lion, or she's a wounded lion and he's a good, like
Aye.
pounces on him and stuff like that.
Do you want us to be funny about that?
Yeah, be
Right.
funny, but producer quote. Be funny about that.
So we also forgot that she pretends to be a gazelle and
I just wanted to
he's a
mention
lion.
it gets worse.
So the lion fell in love with his
the
daughter.
the lion fell in love with
Or
his
dad.
lamb that he gave birth to.
It's
Sorry.
just
So
upsetting because the film didn't need to do this at all. Like, is it funny? Oh, haha, comedy of misunderstanding because
just
the
don't even
dad has
know.
been nice to his daughter. Maybe she fancies him. Maybe that's like funny for a joke. Maybe, I mean, I don't think it's funny, but like, I guess that's what they were going for. The sexual role play, like, dom sub element that they've brought into this was so not okay.
But it's all very bestial as well. There's a lot of smelling stuff. There's a lot of biting, and it's like very who the fuck. There's like so many weird specific fetishes getting brought up in this film.
I know this film came out.
Why couldn't he have just been gay, man?
Why couldn't you
5
just say you were gay?
Was he worried that she was going to tell people he was gay and then he couldn't get
I
with
know this
other
film.
Other
17-year-olds?
I just know this film came out like almost 15 years ago, but I feel like even 15 years ago, people would still be talking about it like this. Like, this isn't a sign of the
Who
times.
was it for?
We'll get into that.
Will
At the
we?
end of the
Clearly
film.
no one.
We'll get into that.
I don't wanna get into anything.
Let's escape the plot first,
Please,
guys.
please get
right?
me out of here.
So, Guy, now we're at the.
Right, I've
now
got one.
I'm fucking freaking out. Now we're at the party, and there's a guy, and just like the way that they portray American parties in films, a guy cunts it down the stairs, and he's in the nude, and then another guy cunts it down the stairs with loads of drinks, and it's just so fucking stupid.
To be fair, I have done that.
And then, oh man, I hate myself. I wrote in
in
this. I
Speedos
think I
and
was just
Bastard?
like taken over by this film for a couple of seconds because I wrote Zac's son gets some poontang. Don't know why I said that.
The film was infecting you.
Right, guys,
was-
I think this is our last podcast. This is not, like, this has ruined
Right,
us.
can I just come in with a line that I thought was quite funny? I don't know where the fuck it goes. I'm sure it's maybe like it's the one about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Can you help me out where that?
Oh,
where that line
yeah,
comes-
they're in the car. I've also written this down.
This After the party.
This isn't. Yeah, I'm just.
No,
I'm-
it cuts. It cuts.
Okay.
Oh,
let
okay.
me finish. Let me
Yeah,
finish,
go
right?
for it, please.
So, then, like, because we can't avoid this part. For some reason, his like the mum shows up.
Because his son's not answering his phone.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Look, your son's got girlfriends, and that's amazing."
Let's
and
go
like,
look at him shag.
your daughter's like such a good person and all this kind of thing. And then they're standing on a balcony, like the most public spot in the fucking party, and they go to wench, and then he slaps her. She slaps him. Rather. That would be fucking shit. We end this. The way this party ends is that the head teacher comes back. She's like come back to shag this fucking creep that's been stalking her the entire film. And she stops the party and she's like, look, this is why I don't date my students' parents, because this could happen. And now everyone knows that I'm going back to your house and this is just obscene. We can't see each other anymore. So Zac's fucked it with the wife. He's fucked it with his daughter because he's like, the daughter's seen that he was like trying to get off with her mum, and her and all her pals slap him on their way out,
Yeah,
which is totally warranted. He's needing a slap at this
I've
point.
written this down. Pervert slaps for Zac and his dad.
Yep.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. But we have somehow missed that really funny line because that definitely came before it. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, so they're in the car and he's.
We're not here yet. We're not
we are.
here.
No,
yet.
we are. This is them
'Cause
on their way
it-
to the
it
party.
cuts.
This is how they end up interrupting the party. It cuts between. They're in the limo on the way back from the date.
Getting mixed up.
They're in the car and she's like, "How did you end up with the new version of Halo?
Oh, that's it. How did you get the new version of Halo first?
It's not out for another 6 months yet."
And then he says, which is quite a funny line, let's just say, I said some things to the Make-A-Wish people that I'm not proud of. That made me laugh. 4 or 5 laughs. That's one of them. Anyway, let's continue.
She's a bit
Sorry, I
shocking.
didn't even think that was worth it there. Good line.
So now he goes back to the house. Oh, no, it's the next morning.
Yeah.
They're kind of cleaning up.
Which this is the only time that this film has ever like resonated with me in terms of like throughout my life I have thought about this film, this one particular bit where it's the day after the party and it cuts to them like zoomed in and he's like hoovering the rug and he goes, "And done with the rug area," and then it zooms out and like everything in the house around them is carnage. I feel like that is us.
We deserve a break. That's what he
About-
says.
Yeah, about like maybe 3 times a week trying to keep our flat tidy,
It was me
especially
today.
after a party. I mean, do you remember when we were like, it was one of the worst the flat's ever been, and you walked in and you were like, we need to tidy up in here, and you went and you like straightened one of the picture frames, and then just walked back into your room and went to bed. That has always reminded me of this exact like 5 seconds of this film, and that's why these two as like a flat living situation really reminds me of us.
So,
Totally.
he's like, right, oh fuck, my divorce is actually in 40 minutes.
Again, that would be Swanny. Man, you're getting divorced in 20 minutes. And he's sitting there like, I don't know, I might go. I'm tired, but I'm hungover. We had the party. Need to clean, need to go. Nah, 20 minutes. Oh no, let's drive. Let's go in this stupid car. It's going to be obscene. And now I've got this siren that I'm holding in my hand because that's a thing
That
that
could have
people.
been a good joke, but it just wasn't.
It just didn't. At this
So,
point, I don't care anymore.
Ned-
Sorry, I don't.
Just for context of the plot, Ned then drives Zac to the divorce hearing in the nick of time, and to get past a lollipop man that is just letting children cross the road that he's like declared as his worst enemy for some reason, he uses a siren that would be
Random.
obviously used on a police car, and then they get to the courthouse just in time for Zac to interrupt the divorce. But obviously Zac is young at this point, so he's like, everyone's a bit kind of like, what the fuck are you doing here? Who is this man?
Yeah.
And so they're trying to finalise the divorce. They basically are just like, well, if Matthew Perry's not going to show up, then we're just going to do it without him.
But the thing is, like, this film is just completely lost. It doesn't care anymore. Whoever's writing this is just giving up. They're like, it's shit at this point. It's going to be shit.
The judge
This
is
is why.
literally like,
This
let's
is why.
pretend this is real.
How do we get him to the courthouse in time? Oh, just hold a siren because that's a thing. Yeah. The judge is like, are you a lawyer? And he's like, yep, here's a piece of paper I printed. And she goes, okay, so let's pretend that's real because that's a thing that a judge would do.
Yeah, I
Like,
would honestly prefer it if they were much more self-aware than they are. If the
Yeah.
film was a bit
they've
more...
just given up at this point.
Yeah, that
And
does
that-
feel like that.
Sympathise.
So,
very much sympathise.
but we do get a wee performance of a lifetime from Zac here when he's
Oh.
reading this letter. It's very heartfelt. He's like,
is
he's
good.
crying his eyes out.
He's a good actor.
He is a good
He
actor.
is a
He
good
is,
actor.
And he was fine in that scene.
It was better than fine in that scene. Like, I
Okay.
know the context around that scene
No,
is shocking. Yeah.
We can disagree.
If you took that scene out and just it was a monologue and it wasn't a part of this film,
It would be quite nice.
it would be okay.
Yeah.
Out of 10 for that
Like,
monologue then.
you were reading, you had that T-shirt on, and you whispered that you loved me.
It was
and,
cheesy, but it was fine.
Out of
Yeah,
10
it's a
for
bit
that?
Notebook.
Yeah.
What, for that speech.
Yeah, for the performance.
I don't know. I'd give it like a 9.
9.
Yeah. Listen, man, I've seen too many clips of my boy, my boy, that guy.
What are you talking about? What film?
Boyd! Literally.
Boy, the movie. That's what I'm talking.
What are you? I'm going to scream.
My boy.
Clarify yourself now.
I'm talking about Daniel Day-Lewis.
Are you comparing Zac Efron to Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood and saying it's just as good? Shut the fuck up! No way! No. No. Oh, sorry, I fucking don't call
I have no idea what that film is or that scene is or anything. Like, I have no reference.
Listen, and this is even more convoluted than I've put it across. Basically, on TikTok, people do compilations of like good bits of acting in films, and they always use that clip of Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood being like, what is it he
Well,
says?
the milkshake scene.
No, where he's shouting about his boy or something. What is he?
One more
I've
time.
abandoned my boy!
I've abandoned my
my
boy.
son!
Yeah, right.
Great scene.
It's in all these TikTok things. So I was
Brilliant
just
performance.
saying, like,
That's a 9 out of 10
sick-
performance.
what I'm saying.
Sorry,
I've
I
seen.
deliberately ignore it.
Shut the fuck up. Let me talk.
This film is bringing out the best and worst in us.
So I'm just saying that I've seen that scene so many times that I'm like, oh, I don't care anymore. I want to see Zac Efron greeting over a divorce letter. So I would give it a 9, just like I would give, like all these people would probably give those performances 9s or 10s, you know? And
I thought it was a strong performance. I did. I enjoyed this, but if it were not for all of the context
yeah.
of fucking
5.
so...
Five
And
out of
then he
10.
says something which could be redeemable here, whereas he says, if I love you, I should let you move on, and if you ended it on that, great. Like, I've just come to terms. I should just let you move on and be your, like, have your own life and, like, enjoy your life and be the better person that you're becoming without me. But no, of course not.
Yeah.
So at this point, the mall realizes that Zac is Matthew Perry because he's reading off this piece of paper, and then he puts the piece of paper down and leaves the court, and she picks it up and it's actually addresses. He wasn't reading a letter at all. He just knows all this stuff about meeting each other for the first time. So she's like, oh shit, that's my husband. What the fuck?
Yeah. And she's like, sorry, Your
And she's
Honor.
like, thank fuck that all the weird shit I've been doing with him is actually alright, because it was my husband all along.
But like, it's still in her head before she fully even gets that. She's like, sorry, Your Honor, can we postpone this while I go encourage this 17-year-old to compliment me some more? And then fucking leaves the courthouse.
Yeah.
Cut
To be
to-
fair, would it like right? So she doesn't know. She's figured out now that that's her husband.
Or there's something happening. Does she?
She doesn't know that he is going to turn back to his age eventually. Is it all right for her to want to fuck a 17-year-old version of her ex-husband?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know why we're being... The fact that we have to question these horrible
It makes me
moral
it's
questions,
fun.
ethical
It's
dilemmas.
making me think of
is
that
shocking.
film. You might know what I'm talking about. Matt Smith and Rachel Green, and basically she clones Matt Smith, but she can't just clone him as an adult. She's like going out with him. She can't clone him just as another adult. She's got to clone him as if he's like a newborn baby, and then she brings him up like her own husband, and then starts going out with him again when he's like of age. That's the vibe. That's an actual film.
Oh.
And it used to
Please
be. It
never
used
make
to
us
come.
watch that one.
It used to come on before Twilight. I've never seen it. I've
What do
never
you mean it
wanted
used
to
to
see
come
it.
on before? Do you mean it came on once before Twilight?
No, I think it was on my DVD version or
Oh,
something
right,
for
okay.
some reason. Like you know how like there was ads on DVDs and stuff.
Oh, right,
sorry.
yeah.
I think that was the ad before
I
my.
thought you were just going, yeah, that well-known double bill of weird Matt Smith film in Twilight.
Yeah.
We all saw that on Channel 5. I don't know.
So yeah, basically Zac's given up at this point. He's like, everyone will be happy without me out the picture. You are correct. Zac makes a hammock for his wife. He goes into the garden, makes her a hammock, and leaves his like his wedding ring there, I suppose. And he's just like, you know, I should have done more for you or something like that on a wee note.
Yeah, we get
But this
creepy.
is just a perfect example of like, you know, like, oh, sorry, I won't do it again. I'll make everything better. And then he'll make one thing, and then he'll
Yeah.
never make another thing again.
Also,
You just
at
know
this
it.
point, she has landscaped that entire garden to fuck, and he's like, "Here's that hammock you asked for 15 years ago." It's like, mate, I think if she wanted the hammock there, she would have done it herself.
Yeah,
Like,
she was crafting for a long time on Minecraft, and she didn't bother to
We
make
are-
that fucking...
half a paragraph away from finishing.
oh my
She didn't
gosh,
make
let's
that.
do it.
She
Let's do
didn't make the hammock.
it.
She didn't want the hammock.
I have wrote that they go to their millionth fucking basketball game
I'm
of this
sick of the basketball.
fucking film that I can't differentiate
Yeah.
between them.
That's what I've
right?
written down. Another basketball game and another shite song.
Burr steers. Fuck you. Sex Pest returns to speak to Jan Levinson.
So what was the burst ears fuck you?
Just
The director of the film for making us do this.
Oh, that's his name. Sorry, I thought you were
we
just...
bursters.
I thought you were just saying that to me across the room. Burst ears. Shut the... What did you say again?
Fuck you.
Yeah, I thought you were just saying that to me. I was like,
Anytime you talk, Claude, it's when he just assumes that you're telling him to shut up.
often do. Often is the case. I can't even fucking speak, man.
So, Sex Pest returns to Jan Levinson once again and is talking to her again, and I guess they make up because they have some more nerd chat and they're going out again, I guess.
Sure.
Zac's playing basketball again, and the wife is sitting watching it as well because her son's also in this game, and then for some reason Zac does the. This is why it was important for me to explain this at the start. Zac kisses his hand and then shoots a like fake hoop, right? Like that. He does that at the start of the film when they're teenagers. He does it to her again, like current day. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, it is him." Like as if she hadn't realized that before. But I guess this is just the breaking moment where she's like, "I can't be here. Can I do this again?" And I think it's exactly what she
She's
said.
also like, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, she's losing it.
I'm
So she
losing
gets up to
mine.
leave, and then Zac fucking ruins the coach's life again. But he does the only good thing that he does for his children in this entire film at this point, and he gives the ball to his son, and it's like, "It's your turn now."
I don't think that's his decision, but he just basically gets like a penalty. I don't know how basketball works, but the guy's like, with the whistle, he's like traveling. So, you know, again, disadvantages his own team. He gives the ball to his son and is like, "It's your turn." And then
No, he
the
doesn't-
son looks at the coach and is like, can I? And the coach is like, yeah, go, I guess.
It's not different than that. It's not in the moment. Like he's about to shoot and then he just passes to the son instead.
No.
He walks off holding the basketball and gives it to his son who's not playing. He's
Fucking-
benched.
I was clearly disassociated at this point.
Benched.
This is
so
so
the
again.
coach actually decides that the son can
So-
go into the
Yeah,
game.
okay, fine. Cool.
We
You're
see wee fairy god Janitor
Oh,
for
yeah.
the final time
The keeper returns.
sitting in the
grinning.
rafters.
This man who's not been in the film, who's not a character, who's
Yeah.
not important,
This
who has no
chronicle
significance. Do you know what? It would actually have been better if he had been a janitor at the school the whole time.
Yes.
That was his failure the janitor has no significance. The mop and bucket has no significance. The guy has no significance. He's not a character in the film. Why?
Why couldn't it have been the
is he
fairy god
disqualified?
coach, man? Why wasn't it the fairy god coach? It just nothing in this film makes sense, but at least that would have made some sense. And then he could have just all he could have done is he could have been like, he could have been coming off the court and he'd give the ball to his son and be like, "It's your turn now." And then the coach could have said a wee line like, "Well done," or like winked at him or something like that. And then you're like, okay, he knew all along, And that he was like, oh, he was my spirit guide all along, He wanted me to pass the torch down and be a good dad. So he chases after his wife. They go to the same corridor that they were in when when he basically said like, "I'm gonna be here for you and this baby. I don't care about basketball anymore." And he turns back into Matthew Perry, and she's just like, "I can't believe this."
Would be gutting for her, by the way. Gutting for her.
She does basically say that. She's like, "Yeah, mine when you had abs. Can you get them again, please?"
Yeah,
like
and
within
we're off
seconds
to
of him being
we're
Matthew
off
Perry
to a
again.
racing start for their healthy marriage to continue.
Also, Matthew Perry in a basketball outfit is just very, very funny. He's just like, "Mama been sick," kind of vibes.
So they have a kiss. He picks her up and like spins her like he does at the start. He struggles to do it because he's old now, I guess. And we end the film.
Sorry, glad you're back, Chandler, but I really wanted to shag Zac Effron. That's all I've written down. Any chance of seeing those abs? Pish. Weird, she says. Understatement of the film.
So the film ends, the naive by the cook's place, and then
That's good.
we have
I
a
like this one.
genuinely quite nice bit, which is almost like, you know how it's said that if you give birth, you kind of are supposed to forget about the pain right after it's happened,
Yeah.
so that you won't have kids again. I feel like that's what the end credits are. They're like, "Oh, look at all the cast and crew when they were kids. This is so sweet." And you're like, "That's so wholesome. What a lovely thing to do. Look at Zac Effron when he was younger. Oh man. Oh look, there's fucking Jan Levinson when she was like 20. That's so weird." And then you kind of forget a little bit that the film has been shocking.
Yeah,
So you go back
the
to watch it
credits
again.
might be the best part of this film.
Yeah. So we end the film.
I don't think I looked at them.
Shall we go through the reviews first
Yeah,
of all,
fucking
and then
let's
we'll rate it.
Okay, fuck.
Oh, we need to pick Rogues Gallery as well.
Yeah,
officially.
yeah,
Is it Crackles or Fairy God Janitor?
I think it's probably Crackles just because he's actually doing things more. And Fairy
But then I think Fairy God Janitor, he's just such an odd character. He's just his existence is rogue.
Right,
His existence
Stan makes sense in the context of it's a high school film.
Yeah.
There's going to be a jackass kind of horrible. I think Fairy God Janitor is so rogue.
Are we going for him? Are we going for the keeper?
I think when you've put him in with Villains Bay, Charlie Bear,
And then we've got
Who
a
is-
Mother
machine
Hubbard.
gun.
Mother Hubbard.
Yeah.
He's so in the same genre as Mother Hubbard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He
only
was
in
just
it for
making
5
me
seconds.
He was just depressed me that there was no point to him, but
That's why he's in the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, he's just this fucking demon that just exists.
All he does
in
is show
time.
up, kills himself.
He giggles all the time.
And just fucking is the worst at mopping ever.
Yeah, he's
always
definitely-
just trailing water everywhere.
We'll put him in the Rogue Gallery, but he's definitely lower tier in my opinion. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Right.
everything about this film is lower
Absolutely.
tier, so
He's-
that tracks.
Okay, so
Bottom of the Rogues Gallery pyramid
Yeah.
goes
In
Fairy,
the playing
first one
card,
to
he's got
die.
the least of everything.
fairy
Yeah,
janitor
he's
god.
the two of clubs. So, right, reviews. Roger Ebert said, 1 star, I shot a man after watching this. No, he didn't say that.
So bought that. I was like, man, I
Yeah,
agree.
fair.
I'm there.
If you're ever gonna do that.
Roger Ebert actually quite liked it. He gave it 3 stars out of 4. And he said...
What?
Yeah, no, he said, 17 again. So this time we agree. 17 again is pleasant, harmless, PG-13 entertainment with a plot a little more surprising and acting a little better than I expected.
Did he watch 17 again?
My stomach hurts.
Did he watch like another film? Did he watch fucking like
Harmless.
Legally Blonde or
Harmless is
something?
the last word I would use to describe this. I would
was-
say the acting from Zac Efron is better than you would maybe think.
Yeah.
But
Also, is it PG-13?
And also
is it
was,
a 3 out of 4?
and also was the plot a little more surprising?
Also-
I don't think so. He gave fucking. I'm pretty sure he gave like Casino or good. No. He gave some other like actual decent films a 3-star review.
Who the fuck as well rates something on a 4-star basis?
A lot of people do. Quite a few. I can't remember. There was a reason, but there's like a film. There's a film circular way of doing it.
I'm not into that.
Yeah, neither am I. I always think 5 or 10 is the perfect way
There's
to do
like
it.
no good middle
Just being
ground. There
difficult.
too. You're either
There's
you're
some-
either like
there's some reason for
half
it, I
empty
forget.
or like too full. Like 4? No,
Yeah, I'll look it up for next time and tell you why.
This can't be a 3 out of 4 film.
it's no
That's
no
a
a 3
1.
out of 4. It's no Harmless. It's no PG. The man is wrong.
Okay, so next one. Though it uses this is just Rotten Tomatoes general consensus. They give 56% based on 149 reviews. Remember, Rotten Tomatoes isn't based on. It's just 56% of people gave it a good review.
It's like a vote.
Yeah, so they gave it was
Over
okay.
half.
Yeah, over half thought it was decent enough. Nathan. Though it uses this is the consensus. Though it uses a well-worn formula, 17 Again has just enough Zac Efron charm to result in a harmless, pleasurable teen comedy. People keep calling this one harmless.
Keep calling this harmless. I
This
feel
is
like
not
I'm
harmless.
being gaslit.
Yeah,
is
we
like-
are.
This is like when a guy's giving you a weird vibe and you can't put your finger on why, and people just keep calling him harmless, and you're like, he's no though. Like there's something going on there. This man's not harmless. Stop calling him
Yeah.
harmless. Stop infantilizing this man. This man does not need to be infantilized. He's a creep. This is what this film is.
Yeah. So last critic thing that I found.
Does it also have the word harmless in it?
Do you know what, this
no.
was just not funny.
Yeah, it's not. It's not funny enough.
Burr Steers got all these
It's
men
not
at
funny
fucking
enough to
gunpoint.
justify being.
Anything. As weird as it is.
Yeah.
If they really went for this meta-textual winking at the camera like, oh, I'm going to be shagging my daughter, no!
I would have hated
Would have
that.
been terrible, but it would have been,
What, like kind of
Interesting.
leaned more into B movie
yeah,
territory.
or I don't know.
Or
anything.
even if it was just funny.
So, anyway, so the guy was talked about before, James Berardinelli, from realreviews.net. He says, or he said at the time, he gave it 2 stars out of 5, which I think is a very fair, very, very fair ranking. He goes, imagine a generic script and mediocre acting, and you have unearthed the essence of 17 Again. And then he says, on what we said earlier, and one of the problems I had with it is a simple suspension of disbelief issue. At age 17, most people look pretty much the way they will appear for the majority of their adult lives. Sure, the face will mature a little, the midsection will get thicker, and the hair may start to thin and show some grey, but the average 17-year-old bears a strong resemblance to their future 35-year-old self. So how are we supposed to accept the main character can be Zac Efron at 17 and Matthew Perry at 35? These actors look nothing alike.
Do you know?
I would disagree with that.
Yeah.
I just don't think
It doesn't matter that much.
it just I think
There's
it's
many more issues.
like if it was a film that was taking itself really seriously and it was actually good and there was some kind of point to them looking really similar and fair enough, but the whole film is so shite and it's so cheesy and ridiculous and it is just like a kind of shite kind of American teen comedy anyway. Why are we so on this I can't suspend my belief or
It's
disbelief
just the
or
film
whatever.
just doesn't work.
Do you know what it is? It's because the film doesn't work, and then we
They
start
just,
looking for
want some
things.
they just want some famous actors in it so people would buy
Yeah,
the film.
yeah, totally.
Why are we all pretending like that's not the
Look,
point?
if the film was better, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Also, look,
Would
I've
the
thought
film be
it
better
through.
if instead of it being Matthew Perry, it was a guy who looked a bit like Zac Efron? No,
No,
that would not
no,
bring it to. That would not bring it to a 3.
You're probably right. You're probably right. To be honest, I think the reason is that the rest of the film lets itself down so much that as soon as someone says, you see someone with an authoritative figure or presence critic saying, "Oh, they look nothing alike," you're like, "Yeah," you really harp into it. At the end of the day.
I was going to make the argument here, and I may have changed my whole opinion on this. I was going to make the argument that it's not to do with the fact that I think I should or I shouldn't be picking apart the casting of this film in the context of the fact that it's not a serious film or anything like that. All I mean is that I don't buy into I can't be brought along for the ride because my head just doesn't accept that these are the same person. Yeah. So therefore the premise of the film is a little bit lost on me. However, despite the fact that I have campaigned throughout this podcast for the fact that the actor should look more like. I've stopped to consider the horror that would be implied even more so if I truly believed that these characters were the same people. I don't want that. I don't want to be disgusted even more than I am already by actually being able to buy that that's hard.
What as well, if instead of like finding an older actor who looks like Zac, they found a younger actor that looks like Matthew Perry and doing all the same things that Zac was doing, but with none of the riz.
Can you imagine that?
That would be shocking.
You know what? Remake it. Use Matthew Perry again, but this time he's 50 odd, and then de-age him like fucking like you know, like the Irishman or some shit, but like with worse technology, and it's Matthew Perry looking how he kind of looked in Friends, but it's a bit glossy and weird. Do that for the whole film, and you've got me.
What I was going to argue is that I really believe that the young Scarlett and the old Scarlett are the same person, like in terms of they look quite similar. Do you know what I mean? And they're styled in a similar way and things as well. I would buy that they're the same person. And obviously that's partly because she's a more unknown actress. But I just...
Right, should we rate it then?
Any more reviews now? We're done with the reviews?
They're all just kind of saying similar things.
a bit pish.
Did you bring up your fun fact?
Do you want that before we do the rating?
Yeah.
So I looked
It
at
is a fun fact.
There's certainly
Made us
loads
laugh.
of facts about this fucking film. 1 second. I may have just lost. No, I've got it. So yeah.
I may have just lost the will to live.
I may have just lost the will to live. Yeah. To repeat the joke. Thanks, Swanny. I'll be cringing at that later. Zac Effron wears the same outfit in this film as he does in High School Musical 3 senior year during the Boys Are Back musical number. The outfit is a red plaid shirt with a white v-neck tee underneath. The only difference is the colour of the jeans. One is then it's not the same outfit. If one jeans is black and one's blue, this is not a
I thought it
fact.
was going to be like, this is the same costume director, therefore, like,
It was a wee nod.
it's a wee Easter egg. No, he's just wearing a
thought I
white
found
t-shirt
something.
and a flannel.
Honestly,
You're basically wearing that outfit.
I am.
You're wearing the same outfit. Oh, right.
Any more
I
facts?
give it a 2. There's my rating. It's a 2. I think it's shit.
Claude.
think
I'll
you
go
should-
first.
you go
I
first.
also give it a 2. I gave it a 4 originally. I'm actually going to change it right fucking now on IMDb. I gave it a 4 when I watched
It's
reviews.
got half a star on Amazon, by the way.
Oh, good.
Out of 5, yeah.
Good.
Half a star.
Fuck yeah. Love that. Yeah, 2. It's shite, and it gets, the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more you try and learn about it, the worse it fucking gets. And I actually even thought, I think I was going to give it a 3 there until I read that fact, because I was like, oh, at least that's an interesting fact that they're wearing this. No, but they're not. They're wearing black jeans and blue jeans. That's not the same fucking outfit. It's a shirt and another t-shirt. Fucking 2 out of 10. Kill me now.
I didn't think that I felt this strongly about this film until having a conversation with you, and you really riled me up. My back hurts and my head's scratchy and I need my back scratched and I want to pull my eyelashes out after this entire experience.
2 out of 10.
So I'm not giving it a 2.
It's fine.
Because I think that, first of all, I want to compare it to others in its genre, and there's definitely worse. I believe that. Okay, I do.
Like what?
I can't. I'm not
Okay,
gonna.
fine,
I'm not
sorry.
gonna do this because then I'll be like, I don't know, because I won't remember. I couldn't even remember what Superbad was called, so I'm not. And I actually like that film, so I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna give Zac a lot of merit in this.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why that he's responsible for both of my points.
Yeah, he's just like nice to look at. I just genuinely just get a likable vibe off of Zac Efron. So anything that he's in, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'd give that a watch. Even like Ted Bundy, I don't really like biopics of.
I don't really like Ted Bundy.
Yeah, it wasn't into his earlier stuff.
Not a huge fan of biopics, and especially not a huge fan of biopics depicting serial killers because I think it's just a wee bit distasteful.
It's a wee bit cringe, isn't it?
Yeah. However, well, cringe, distasteful.
I meant cringy in the distasteful way, I guess.
I think like I would even watch the Ted Bundy thing that he's in just because I like him so much, which is going to bring my score up to a.
I thought you said 8.
We're ready to
Oh, my
actually. We both got up to leave. Like we both just propelled ourselves out of the seat.
Grabbed each other for fucking
Imagine
help.
what kind of person would give 17 again an 8.
Nathan Barr, calling you out now. Make a response video. Tell me why it's an 8 out of 10.
I will give it a. I'm really wrestling with this, guys. A 3.5.
Okay, well, I don't care
A
enough.
4. Sorry, I'm gonna give it a 4.
I nearly cared enough, but I still don't.
I think that we can all conclude.
You watched that again 2 years ago, so I just spat apple.
Yeah, and I decided that it wasn't worth watching again.
think
I was
that we
pulled into this quagmire by Claudia Edwards.
I think that we can all conclude that
this
even
is
if we
done.
didn't enjoy the film, at the end of the day, we enjoyed having a very heated discussion as
Yes,
we do every
that's
week.
true.
I don't know, man. Sorry, I don't. It's been personified by this film.
No, this has been fun. This has been ridiculous.
It has been fun.
I have enjoyed. I mean, I do wish that because you guys watched this film. We should have explained this at the very beginning. You guys watched this film together this week, and I watched it separately to you guys. I definitely do think I would have enjoyed it more if we were watching it as a 3. This is definitely not one that I had to sit through on my own
Yeah.
with my dry
Cruel.
oatcake mouth and
That's
my
what you get for going back
misophonia.
home and enjoying your family's company.
I
You
know.
get to watch 17 again
And
by yourself.
I will regret it to the end of time because of the experience I've been through watching this on my own.
Yeah.
But no, I have enjoyed talking about it with you guys way more than I enjoyed watching the film. Take us home, Claude.
Thank you so much for listening and or watching to the Sorry I Don't podcast where we discuss 17 again this week. Hopefully next week we'll have a generally more enjoyable time with whatever we watch. Just so you know, we also have a discount code now if you want to use the services at the Podcast Studio Glasgow where we film, produce all of our podcasts. You can include the the discount code SORRY in capital letters, and it'll give you a 10% discount. So if you want to use that, please go ahead. I would definitely recommend it. Everything is done for you, basically. We just sit here and talk every week, and all the hard work is done by them. So
It's class.
thank you very much for joining me today, guys, and I'm sorry I put you through that.
No worries. Can't wait to put you through Lord of the Rings. That's all I'm saying.
That is fair enough.
Penance.
Penance. All right.